need to read some chat anymore.
I don't need anybody.
I
All right, we're live. Let me get the
This is
music
very
going here.
exciting.
Let me get this music going because we got to have the music, right?
You got to have the Clip Joint Friday music.
I have a whole clip joint playlist.
Oh my god, can't believe it.
Wait.
Can we release it on a CD format and see
Yeah.
if anyone buys it?
Laser compact, like laser disc, the big laser disc.
Yeah, the CAV ones that you could pause. I mean, that was really high tech.
Greetings, everybody. What's up? What's up? What's up? You're back with your boy Jackson and your boy Brad Samuel Fulton here, coming live from Austin, Texas, via Los Angeles.
That's right. It's called the Expat Package.
The expat. All right, I did this last time. I'm gonna turn my music way down because your volume and my music volume is the same.
Refugee status at the Capitol.
Now I'm gonna
I'm
turn.
a California refugee.
Now I'm gonna turn you way up.
Exciting.
All right, check 1 2, check 1 2. Yeah, they're already asking, did I fix my cameras? No, I didn't fix my cameras yet
Can you explain why you didn't?
because I'm lazy.
Didn't you just tell me though that a squirrel came in and took the camera?
Yeah.
And you're trying to find the squirrel?
Well, he didn't really take the camera. He was gnawing on the HDMI cables.
That's not what you told me. You told me that he stole your camera and then he stole your car.
Well, he stole my camera, then he stole my car, and then blew out the transmission.
He has some info on you.
Yeah, he's got some info on me. Okay, what's up, everybody? Let me just check to make sure. Yep, we're live.
That's the only reason that you and I talk is because of what Kenneth Wayne knows.
I tell you what, the stuff that guy knows, it's like, man. I mean, countries have fallen for less information.
I just don't want it to get out there about how I traveled to Tampa, Florida to see the Hulk Hogan store in Clearwater.
That's a great store. I'm glad we went together.
Yeah, I was just there and walked in front of it and saw the statue, and they had like it roped off.
Oh.
I walked. It was hilarious. It was so Florida.
Yeah. All right, people. Let's. I got things open here. Let's do a little review for class here.
Yes.
We've got
For all of us.
This is the. Did we ever come up with a name with this? A name for this deck?
Yeah, Fulton's Clip Joint.
Oh, okay, done. Ship it.
Yeah, it's done. Just ship it. Remember the premise, Jackson, was that Dan Phillips never existed, and I had met you in 2010, and we did it.
So we got the back design that's inspired by. It's a Dorado back. That's
right.
We got this.
Thanks to Jason McKinstry for actually telling me the name, which I've now since forgotten.
Yeah. And then we got Brad's good-looking mug as one of the ad cards.
Yeah, I pay Jackson a lot for the hair.
Yes. When I have to add hair to someone in a picture, I charge by the digital strand.
By the follicle.
By the digital follicle. And then we got the other ad card, which is the little, the clip joint. What was this place again? What was this place?
It was it's based on Philippe's, which invented the French dip.
Oh yeah, the beef au jus sauce. Beef au jus.
That's right. I guess the story was I think someone ordered it and they wanted it like dipped, or the other story is that he dropped it. He accidentally dropped it into the au jus,
the au jus
or something. Two places in LA claim to have invented the French dip: Philippe and then Coles, which it's obvious that Philippe invented it.
So we got this. So we took Philippe's place and we added the cool kind of 60s motel sign type stuff.
Yeah, it's an iconic LA joint. That's what I imagine kind of clip joint to be, is around that area too. Maybe on the edge of Chinatown.
Yeah. And then let's see here. Now we got our court cards. Now we've got like a orange silver color scheme. Is that what we did? Is that what we ended up getting on? Because you love the Halloween the color schemes.
Yeah, I love it. And it matches the awesome Joker.
Yeah, let's see the Jokers. So we got the pumpkin.
I love that little aqua that you added in there. I don't know why you did, but I like it.
The rim light.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second Joker is the cat coming out with a little hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love how it has your name on it, because I paid a lot of money for that name on there.
That's right. You better. So we got. I mean, you were right. The deck is done. We got all the
It's
cards
done.
ready to go.
So
So
everyone, let me update you. So about 7 months ago, Jackson told me, "Hey, it's done. Here's the file. Check it out. I'm gonna submit this now. We just got to polish up that tuck." The tuck was actually the first thing Jackson started, and he said, "I'm gonna submit it now. It's gonna be ready for the holidays." I just talked to USPCC. I'm gonna meet their deadline by October, and then Jackson does what Jackson does. He goes away and does 10,000 other things, and here we are back, and it's actually gonna get submitted now, I believe.
yes, I'm gonna do it. I may even write the email today before we leave.
Yeah, that's Jackson. That if anyone heard my birthday roast of Jackson, I said the greatest thing about working with Jackson is that if you're apprehensive about an idea, you have at least a year before he calls you back, and you can refine it.
All right, so the only two things we have left to do are the tax stamp and finish the tuck case. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Folta, we've never really shown anybody the tuck case yet.
No, it's my favorite thing of all time.
But we're gonna do that today because you're finishing this deck is more important than keeping the tuck case a secret at this point for you.
That's right. It was supposed to be a secret, but I just don't care anymore. I just love the tuck. That was the first thing you ever sent to me. Was you just randomly texted me an MP4 file of like a time lapse of you drawing the tuck, and I was blown away. I've watched it 1,000 times.
I may even play that video if I can find it. But
Oh, you should.
so
I mean, I have it. I can play it like on Instagram Reels or something. It's freaking amazing.
so this is the tax stamp that was traditionally on. Well, we're not going to show it yet, but the tuck case is inspired by the old Chesterfield cigarette boxes. I always call cigarette boxes tuck cases now because yeah, just get your cigarette out of your tuck case there, buddy.
You know, the word tuck is weird. Like how people call them like tucks. I never really understand the term. Of course, we've used it for years. I don't know that I like the term, but
Well,
it's just
Well, the reason why they call them tuck cases is because unlike the tuck cases we get printed at Clove Street, a lot of people don't use glue on the bottom, and so you have to tuck the bottom little tab in, and so it's called a tuck case.
Really?
So they close by tucking and not by gluing.
Oh, so what are the glue ones called? Are they called glue boxes?
They're called glue cases.
Horse boxes.
Horse glue boxes for playing cards.
Did you ever hear that when you were a kid? They'd say like, "Oh, that's horses inside of your Elmer's glue."
I didn't hear it. I actually grew up about 20 miles from a city called Hereford, Texas, and it's the beef capital of the world. They have more feedlots there than anybody, but they also have glue factories, and it's totally legit and real.
Are you kidding? Does
No.
this really stink around this area?
Oh yeah, I mean, you think about cow manure and horse glue factories. Absolutely.
Wow, that's like in California. There was a place called Norco, North Corona, and whenever you would drive out that way inland, it would just smell like a dump for miles. I think now it's actually all, tract homes.
Yeah, now everything. No, I'm just kidding. In Southern California, it smells like a dump. I remember when I lived there, it was just like the oil refineries and trash. But I lived right by like Huntington Beach and stuff. So
Isn't it funny though? The oil refineries, like by the torrents, like it feels like the end of the world. You see those smokestacks, and it's right by the beach.
Yeah. All right, so this is the tax stamp that was on the old classic Chesterfield cigarette boxes, and this is the tax stamp that we're gonna redo. And I have this delicious photo of Brad right here that he took.
This is taken so long ago. Jackson had this idea of
this was 1980. This picture was taken in 87, right?
Yeah, except then I had shaved my head to look like I was bald, though.
Yes. So he took this picture for me. I sent him this tax stamp, and he took this picture for me, and I think it's great.
Oh yeah. Well, Jackson's like, "Do you know who DeWitt Clinton is?" And I'm like, "Huh? What?" He's
what?
like, "We got to do a tax stamp. Can you have your wife take a photo with this, hand pose?" I'm like, "Of course I can."
I'm gonna see how weird your face looks if I flip you, because sometimes, if you flip people horizontally, sometimes they look like different people.
Really?
Absolutely, because your face is not symmetrical. It's
Hey,
asymmetrical.
why did you say that about me,
Yeah,
Jackson?
well,
My mother told me it's perfectly symmetrical.
yeah, you look still pretty much the same.
Yeah, see, I told you I'm so symmetrical. I mean, I've been measured by the millimeter.
You've been studied by scientists by the
I've been
millimeter.
studied by science.
By science. All right, let me get your eyeballs kind of in the same spot. That looks good right there.
I love these old stamps. I do believe that nobody can do tax stamps like Jackson.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I don't want to flip the whole thing.
You know, the one you did for the Jerry's Nugget thing is freaking awesome. Like, I look at that, and that almost makes the deck to me. I mean, the tuck is kind of the printing of the tuck isn't like, you know, embossed or anything. I think it's a standard tuck, but the stamp makes it premium.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You remember doing it?
I'm trying to remember what it looks like.
The weird blue and red Jerry's, which to me is, I've already said, one of my top 5 favorite decks.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
the weird Jerry's.
Yeah.
With the columns.
Yes.
The stamp on that is epic.
So basically, I'm just gonna recreate this tax stamp for all the nice viewers out there. But we're gonna put cigarettes. Let's write what we're gonna put. Let's just sketch it out here. We're gonna do. This is gonna be playing cards here. Playing cards. Little dot. This will be class A. We'll keep this the same. I think that sounds fun.
Yeah.
We'll keep these little designs the same.
I also like it because if the CL gets rubbed off, it just is totally fitting for me.
Yeah, exactly. We'll make this, this will be number 13. I'm going to change this to a 13.
See, it's funny, like you kind of have the trademark of like number 13 kind of playing cards, and then I have like number 37, and my wife is born on the 13th. My mom is born on the 13th. My mom was born on Friday the 13th. And so I always say, man, that was meant to be. Jackson's got that 13. And if you ever give up that number, I would like to be in line to take that one too.
Awesome.
I love 13 is one of my favorite numbers of all time.
So you said you were 37? Your number was 37?
Yep.
We'll do this. We'll go series. Down here where it says series 107, we'll do series 37.
Yeah, I remember even like the original Ace Fultons have the 3-7 under on the flaps. That's awesome. I love the 13 though. I like the stigma of the number 13.
Yeah. And this
What's your reason again for using 13, Jackson?
When I redid those, when USPC let me be the first person to revamp the tally ho look.
Oh my God, so awesome.
It was it says number 9 on the front of the tally ho, and I put number 13, so it kind of stuck.
No, why though? I know that it's
been my
favorite decks.
It's just been I don't really believe in luck, but I think it's my lucky number.
Texans don't believe in luck. We believe in hard work and Davy Crockett.
That's right. So it says
yesterday
USIR.
Yesterday I was on the road.
What's up?
Yesterday I was on the road and I saw that bumper sticker, you can all go to hell, I'll go to Texas, Davy Crockett. And I said to my wife, I wonder if Jackson can kind of try to get royalties off that.
Exactly. So this is USIR. That's internal revenue. Let's see. What can we put for USIR? We could do.
Isn't it that Dougherty invented the tax stamp on this to help fund the war?
Yeah, he didn't invent the tax stamp, but he went to Lincoln and said, hey,
right.
How about you start a tax? And he did. That's in that write-up that he did, that Jason did of the Dougherty stuff for one of my next decks. I think it's El Dorado, because that's a Dougherty deck.
Oh, he's obviously my hero. And Jason McKinstry, if you don't follow him, who wrote the book Paper Empires, who does write-ups on Jackson's site about the Texans, etc. If you're not reading that stuff, you really should be. It's fascinating. I mean, I text with Jason all the time, and sometimes people are pretty cool and pretty smart, but he's actually amazing. Like, I'll just, because I'm a Dougherty fanboy, so I'll be like, hey, I never saw the back of the Klondike. Has it ever been shown? Hold on a second. Yeah. Then you get 3 photos of it.
Yeah. So I'm going to put US and then P, not PPC, because it's not United States Pretty Playing Card Company. Well, USPCC. Like that.
United States Purse Company.
United States Purse Company. And then we'll do what we'll need to do is we'll need to extend it down here. So we'll need to extend this at the bottom so we can have. Well, we don't need the edition number on the. We don't really need to do an edition number because we're gonna. Are we gonna have these? Are these gonna be limited edition? I can't remember.
Well, I know that we're going to do a Gilded limited edition. We should do one with a limited edition number with a, what's the word for that again? I always forget. What's it? Variable data?
Yeah, variable data.
You learn so many new words when you print things.
We can add that at the bottom for the Gilded. So we'll just do this. All right. That looks pretty good. I like that.
Hey, it's funny though. The borders of this tax stamp look like the clip joint. It's like meant to be.
Nice.
The little pizza cutout.
Man, I mean, anything that looks like a pizza, I'm game for.
What kind of pizza do you get, Jackson?
Well, sadly, I don't eat pizza anymore. But if
Wait. Go back. Now what?
I don't eat pizza anymore.
Why did you ruin my morning like this?
Why? Pizza, like when my kids, I probably get asked this like at least 25 times a week. Hey, Dad, what are your top three? What are your top three favorite foods, Dad? And it was always steak, pizza, and brisket, or steak, brisket, and pizza.
And it's not now?
No, because I'm a carnivore diet guy, so I don't eat bread and processed food.
So now, when did this start? Because you really have like a transformation, like from when I took your portrait in Austin.
Dude,
you seem to just be so much more fit now. So I didn't know what the deal was.
Dude, you have no idea. In fact, my wife. So in Austin, let me just tell you this. I'm going to show you a picture that my wife sent me on my birthday. And she said, "I'm so sorry that I made you stay in Austin so long because Austin was killing you." Let me find it. But it's a picture of me in Austin, and it looks like I ate 3 children. And I just look sad and sick, and if I can find it. And then she took a picture, and then she sent me a picture of one we recently took, like when we were in Colorado. No, it's just when I was in Austin, it was all my allergies and everything. Let me see if I can find it because I think it's worth seeing.
Wow. What is the weight difference, though, if you don't mind me asking?
I probably have lost. I think when I lived in Austin, I weighed 280.
What the heck? Really?
Yeah.
280. Did you feel yourself getting like bigger? Like, how often do you get bigger when you're going up that hard?
I don't know. I mean, I do. I guess you could say what do you call it? You carry your weight well.
Yeah. I mean, I would have never guessed you were 280. I mean, I wouldn't have believed that.
Oh, yeah, dude. Okay, so I'm going to send this to myself so I can show you. But it's just kind of like a before and after. If I can.
This is why I love doing these things, is because you get to go off topic and explore life.
If I could. Okay, here it is. Oh, my gosh, dude, this picture.
And you got shots for your allergies, correct?
I tried getting shots, but then I had an anaphylactic reaction to like when I was on like my 3rd week when they upped the dose and they had to give me an EpiPen in the doctor's office. It was awful.
What about the drops? Isn't there something called like a drop that goes under your tongue for allergies?
Yeah, I couldn't do that either. But I mean, I was on prednisone because I was sick all the time, and so that was making me gain weight. And all right, here we go.
Do you think allergy medicines are safe?
I don't know. I tell you what's safe for me is just eating healthy and exercising and not being around what I'm allergic to.
The cedar.
Yeah. So look at this. This is me in Austin.
Oh my goodness.
So I
like the shirt though.
So that was like 280. 275, 280.
But look at that hair.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of hair.
Yeah. So that's me, like 270, 280. And then this is me. This is just me probably like a couple of weeks ago when we were in Colorado.
What a difference.
I mean, definitely have a lot more white hair, but I digested the 3 kids that I ate.
But is that like 80 pounds different or 60?
I'm down to like 225 now. And I feel really good now.
Well, it's like when I used to work at this laser disc shop when I was in college. One of the managers, Alex Yoon, he was this big 6'2", 6'3" Korean American guy, and he was kind of hefty. I mean, he used to eat a lot of fast food, and then he went on this diet, and he lost this tremendous amount of weight. And he said to me, he said, "Hey, pick up this box of laser discs." And I picked it up, and he said, I was carrying that around on my body every
Oh,
day, all day.
man.
And I had never thought about it like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, think about it. You're carrying around what, 60 pounds?
And I tell you what, man, like, just like, it's hard to explain. Like, when I lived in Austin, like, I genuinely remember just like my brain being in like this fog, like just this hazy fog, and I couldn't think quick. I couldn't deal with like stress well. But like now, like I can think so much better, and my productivity has skyrocketed. And just because my brain is not like in this weird fog thing, I don't even know how to explain it.
And now this brings up a good point though, because you said you couldn't deal with stress well. So tell me how it differs. How would you deal with stress in Austin versus how you deal with stress in Tennessee?
Well, it's just more of like I truly believe that it was a thing of like my brain was so my body and brain were so unhealthy that I just I didn't have all my like faculties, my like mental faculties to like just like think about things and not stress about them. And then it was just like a feedback loop that I would stress, and stress is like one of the worst things that you can do for, you know, weight gain and stuff like that. And then it just made it worse, you know.
What would stress you out though? Can you give me an example of
My
your
business,
reaction?
mainly my business, and just like, you know, money and business and owning your own business and all that kind of stuff.
It's a lot of work. It's a pain in the ass, really. A lot of freedom, a lot of pain.
Yep, but that's all right. I want to pay the price.
Well, I explain it to my daughters. I say, like, look, we can go to the park right now, anytime. No one can tell me that I can't leave, right? But then also, I might be up at 1 in the morning finishing something and paying, out a huge sum of money for costs. So that's the trade-off. I try to explain to my kids the positive and negative of everything, which
Yeah.
everything has both sides,
Yep. But like
right? I mean,
now,
don't you tell your kids that? I mean, they see you doing this,
hmm and the same is for my
and
wife as well. I mean, my wife, because we kind of do everything together. So if we're doing if we're doing eating habits, and we don't really call it a diet because we kind of just wanted to make a decision of like, okay, we want this to be our lifestyle, not us eating on a diet. And so like we do it together, and she's lost like 40 pounds too.
but the sad part though is that you won't have to be getting sourdough out of the oven. That kind
Yeah.
of bums me out.
Yeah, the whole year of 2020 during the lockdown, we tried eating 100% plant-based to see if that would help. And it did help my allergies, but it just made me like weak and shriveled up. I was losing all this kind of like muscle mass. It was not good. And then in January of last year, we started the carnivore diet, and man, I've never felt better.
What exactly does that mean? Like, give me a rundown. Like, what do you eat for breakfast and lunch?
I only eat meat. It's gonna sound weird, but I only eat meat, liver, and organs.
Really? No fiber?
Well, I get all my fiber through things like the organs.
The organs have fiber?
Oh yeah, like liver has tons of nutrients. I'm not sure if it has fiber or not, but I get my fiber through other things because you can get it from a lot of different places, not just like through plants.
Well, what about gizzards? Do you ever eat gizzards?
Oh yeah, that would be an organ.
I went to this place, Bush's Chicken. I'm sure you know it.
Yeah, I know bush chicken.
Bush's Chicken's good. I like it. I like the atmosphere in there. I like the people. But all these people had told me you got to get the gizzards, and I got them, and really enjoyed the first two. They were very crunchy, and then the third one, after chewing through that kind of crunchy, muscly mass. I know Edward the gizzard.
Edward the gizzard.
You know, is I was thinking about that, and I was eating it, and I said, I can't do anymore. Like I just sat there and looked at the basket. I'm like, I just can't do it, dude. Gizzards were not for me.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't like livers, but they're the most.
I've never tried it.
They're the most nutrient-rich food, like animal food source that you can get. Like the Native Americans, like when they would go, you know, when they would hunt bison and stuff, or even any kind of like native people, when they would go hunting and they would kill an animal, they would most of the time, you know, the meat, like the actual meat of an animal, like that would be kind of like the lowest priority thing, and they would even give that to the dogs. The first thing that they would eat right there on the spot is the heart and liver, because they were the most nutrient rich foods.
Well, wow. Have you ever heard about like those serial killer whales that hunt white sharks?
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Well, they were finding these sharks with just like an incision, like a surgical incision on the side of them, and then the liver missing.
Yeah, dude, totally.
On white sharks, and it's these pods of killer whales to make this incision super quick and just, you know, distract and outsmart the white shark, or, you know, over muscle them.
That's
and
crazy.
Take the liver.
Yeah, dude,
that's what they take, and they leave the rest of the shark.
I can totally see that. Let me turn my music.
That's
down.
interesting. I do feel white sharks are my favorite animal. I feel horrible for them.
So yeah, so it's meat, liver, and organs, and I'll occasionally eat oranges because I like oranges, but I don't eat anything else. I eat cheese.
There's no strict. I know the Native Americans used to eat a lot of like berries. You know, they had a lot of bison and berries.
I can eat berries if I want. I mean, I don't have a. It's not like a super strict carnivore diet. A super strict carnivore diet would be just meat and organs, and nothing else. I still like oranges because oranges are the way, you know, those little halo oranges.
Yes.
That's like my secret weapon against chocolate, because I love chocolate and sugar and stuff like that. And so when I've kind of trained my mind to where when I'm craving chocolate or sugar, mainly chocolate, like something sweet after dinner, I've trained my mind that that's my sweet, that's my junk food, is those halo oranges. And so now
that's really the Asian way. Like growing up around a lot of Asian people, you'd go to their house, and for dessert you would have some sort of fruit thing.
Yeah, and so now my brain, the dopamine gets dumped into my body when I have that you would normally get when you'd eat like a big nice chocolate cake or something. But it does that when I eat an orange, and it suffices.
Do you think you're going to be able to do this for the rest of your life? Is that your goal, or are you ever going to have a cake again?
Well, that's funny because my parents, they're visiting me right now. And they brought a German chocolate cake for my birthday, and I was like, I can't have that, guys. I'm so sorry. And it was more of like, if I eat that, I haven't had sugar in so long, and processed sugar in so long and on top of that, like flour, that it would just make me sick. So it was more of a, I don't want to get sick type of thing.
No, but what about like, do you take like a blood sugar reading? Do you know like your previous fasting sugar versus now?
Not now. I don't do that much anymore. Because my body is, I've kind of got my blood insulin level pretty regulated, because I'm never feeding, I don't eat any sugar, any refined food. The only time I eat anything that's kind of refined is if I eat like Chick-fil-A nuggets that are fried in peanut oil. That's about it.
But you will eat a Chick-fil-A nugget.
Yeah. That's one of my little guilty pleasures. But other than that,
it's hard to get off of that.
Yeah. Other than that, like, I don't eat vegetables. I don't eat. Yeah, and I've never felt better. But
I remember the Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson was talking about how he just ate steak for like 5 years or something, just all beef diet.
Yeah, but you have, if you do it to where you're not eating like vegetables, you can't not eat vegetables and not eat the organs like the liver and stuff, because the liver and heart is how you get the nutrients that you're missing by not eating vegetables. Oh,
interesting. I know that he had some kind of autoimmune disease, and he was saying that kind of cured him of it. And I don't know if that's true. I don't vouch for any of this, but that's what he was saying.
Well, I mean, in a way, I kind of had the same thing, because what would happen to me is my immune system would go crazy. and it would just start fighting my own body, and I would just get inflamed. And so in a way, I kind of had the same thing where, you know, an autoimmune disease. I mean, I didn't really have a disease, but it was kind of the similar thing.
Now, how do you deal with stress now, though? So we're talking about that. So like when you have a really stressful day and you hear this is delayed, you can't get this is running through, you owe this much to a printer. How do you deal with it?
I mean, a lot of it is just, you know, the biggest way that I deal with stress is by staying on my routine. So like these DELs, like I don't like vacation. I don't like taking vacation. I mean, I love being with my family and stuff, but if I'm out of my routine, that's when like things get dangerous for me, because that's really how I can deal with stress, because so much of my attitude and mentality is tied to my productivity level. And if I'm being productive and I'm working and drawing, then my mind is right. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, I totally get it. It's so, like I was at Disney World, like, you know, a month or so ago, and I was like on my phone finalizing these deck illustrations, and my wife's like, you really need to like put it away. You just have to be over it. And it's like, you know, I did put it away. I just kind of wrapped it up. I don't want to be the party pooper working the whole time, but I really just wanted to finish that. Yeah.
And my wife, and I mean, my wife is awesome. Like, I think in the beginning, especially like when going back to what I was talking about, when we lived in Austin, we didn't really get it, because we were just like in this fog. But like life for me is so much better when I'm in my routine. And, you know, on the surface level, it's like, oh, you work too much, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying that's my wife saying that. I'm just saying like the world would say that, like you work too much or whatever. But like for me, like me being healthy is me staying in my routine, me working. And that's where my headspace is right. And my wife has learned that. And she's like, I know that, you know, my husband is better, and, you know, a better husband when he's in his kind of like right routine. And so she understands that. And she tries to do her best to, like, you know, help me stay in that routine, but while at the same time kind of, you know, finding the balance of, like, you know, even like my time with her is in kind of like a routine. Like after I get finished with my DELs, like I'll go upstairs and Becca will be sitting in, like, we have these little 2 chairs that we sit in, and I'll go upstairs and she'll be waiting there, and I have to make a cup of coffee for her, and then I take it to her, and then we sit there and we have coffee and sit in these 2 chairs. Like that's part of my routine.
And where are the kids then?
They're like waking up.
They sleep in?
Sometimes, but usually
Why aren't they up at like 4 a.m. like doing some kind of live drawing though?
Usually Olive is. It depends on the day.
That's so funny. For me, relaxation is my daughter's softball.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just like going to the field. I know all the parents, I know all the coaches, and just kind of having a goal of how do you fix a swing. I'm not like an overarching dad, like, why didn't you hit that? I mean, not at all. I just, for some reason, I just like kind of the work ethic element of softball for them. I told them I really don't care about the sport. I don't care if you lose. I don't care if you ever hit anything. I just want to teach you that if you're doing poorly and you work hard and you work through it, you get better and you see results.
Yeah. We actually went, my daughter, she's playing volleyball, and it's the first time any of our kids have played an organized sport, and
I know you don't like them.
And we went to the first game yesterday. That it was a scrimmage, and we had fun. I told Beck, I was like, I'm gonna be, you know, that obnoxious dad that yells too much and stuff like that.
Yes, I spend my weekends with tons of them.
So I told Becca, you know me, I gotta do everything K-Dub. So I was like, I'm gonna be that guy, but even better. And so we were at this scrimmage, and I was just going crazy. But I wasn't like, put her in, coach, put her in. I was just yelling, like, in support of the team. And, like, anytime we'd make a point or something, I was just being crazy. Everybody was looking at me. It was awesome.
Now, do Tennesseans take sports as crazy as people in Texas do?
Oh, no.
Texas is nuts, dude. Like, even this, like, girls softball we're in is so crazy that at Tball games, parents will be like, I thought this one guy, this kind of hefty guy, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He was screaming at Tball, because Tball, the kids make mistakes. They don't know where to throw it. They throw it to third when it's supposed to go to first. He was literally like, I thought he was going to die on the field.
Yeah, and it was funny because my dad, who is, he's retired now, but he was a, offensive line football coach in Texas high school for, 40 years, 35 years. And he was at the volleyball game last night, and I could tell that he was just like reeling because his coach tendencies were coming out, and I was like, "Relax, Dad, it's okay. This is just she's
absolutely
she's 13. This is church league homeschool volleyball."
Well, you know what I've learned though. I've learned about men's shortcomings from watching my daughters playing sports, because like my daughter last year was on a really poor team. And so at the end of the season, I asked the coach, who is a cool guy, really nice guy, but I said, "Hey, why did we only win 2 games? Just give me your opinion of why Starfire won all of them and we didn't."
Starfire.
Yeah, Starfire is the team they're on this year. It's like the freaking Yankees of girls softball. It's a freaking unreal. And he said, "Well, the reason they won is because their coach stalls the catcher getting ready, and then he plays toss with the girls for 5 minutes before each game. And over the season, those 5 minutes add up to a whole nother practice."
Really?
Huh. And I said, "Really?" So I said, "So if I were to just play catch with the Los Angeles Dodgers for 5 minutes before every game, they would just win every game. It would not matter about money or ethic or anything." He said, "No," but then that was his opinion of why the other team was so superior to his. So I see that people make great excuses on why. And the real reason is because Starfire practices 4 times a week. He practiced 1 time a week.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me, we were talking about my dad. My dad was just like a straight business, no frills kind of coach. And somebody...
You didn't give hugs?
No hugs. No, none of that crap. But he was a great coach. I mean, he was a Texas Hall of Fame coach, and I remember somebody like after a game.
So he's the King's Wild of coaching.
Yeah, for me he was. Somebody from a newspaper was like, it was after a game or something, and like, "Coach Robinson, can you talk to us about what we had won the game or something?" And they had asked, "Coach, tell us about what went down today. Like what got you guys the win today?" And my dad, with just not a sarcastic voice or anything like that, just straight up, total serious business. He goes, "Well, the reason why we won is because by the end of the game, we had crossed the goal line more than the other team."
That's right. That's absolutely true, though.
Yeah. And the guy was just like, "Oh, okay." And my dad didn't just walked away. It was awesome.
It's funny though. It's so true. And it's like, certain coaches are like that, where I don't know if you ever watched hockey, but the Los Angeles Kings had this coach named Darryl Sutter, who's like a famous Canadian coach. And he's from Alberta. He's like a cowboy. And they would just want his psychological breakdown of why Jonathan Quick or whatever the goalie was doing stuff. And he's like, he didn't stop anything.
Yeah.
The pucks got past him. And they're like, "Well, what do you think that is?" And he's like, "I don't know. Just got past him." And that's all he would give. And there's all these media clips of people would make fun of him, but I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He used to use this term. They said, "How do you feel after he lost this big game?" And he said, "Park and ride." And the girl said, "What?" And he said, "Park and ride." She said, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, losing, it's you park the car somewhere, you get on a train, and you go ride somewhere else. It's park and ride." He'll say, and you get over it, you move on.
Yeah.
Park and ride. And then she asked him some other deep psychological question, and then he said, "I buy all my reading glasses at Costco. They're a lot cheaper." Your dad would love him. So Tennessee's been good to you then. You've done the I always tell like native Texans and stuff about you. Like I say like, hey dude, you don't know Mr. Texas. And I tell them about you. And I say, yeah, but he told me that he's a real Texan because now he went to Tennessee. So he's just doing the reverse migration.
Yeah. Yep. No, yeah, Tennessee's been great for us.
The people are, how would you describe the people difference?
It's a lot like Texas, just more kind of like Southern.
What does that mean exactly for people that are listening or will listen? What does that mean, more Southern?
It's hard to explain. Like, I mean, obviously the easy stuff, like the Southern accents, because the Texan accent is different than a Southern accent. Kind of like the more laid back mentality. I don't know. It's hard to explain. We like everybody here.
Oh, I understand it. I mean, I understand. I love Tennessee. I've always loved my time there. The one funny thing though is whenever I go to the South, my wife she hates it because I'll be like on a corner for 30 minutes with just random people.
Yeah.
Just sitting there talking to random people. And she's like, oh, can we go? And I'm like, no, this guy's interesting. This guy's from here in Memphis. I want to hear what his story is.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean by Southern. Like, and you find that in certain areas of Texas where you have a lot of Texans, they will stop, they will talk to you, they will ask you things.
Yeah.
It's like a human interest thing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you get it.
I do get it.
Like we were in New Orleans, last year, and there's this old guy, looked like Cab Calloway, just super cool looking guy. And we were just at a park for like an hour and a half. Like my kids were playing with his kids, while we were on vacation. And I was asking him about the history of New Orleans, and he had grown up in the French Quarter, and he told me that he had worked in Las Vegas for 10 years. And he said, you want to know what a lady said to me? I was talking to her and she said, oh, you're one of those dumb Southerners. And I said, well, what does that mean, ma'am? And she said, you're going to stop and talk to everyone for 2 hours like a real dumb Southerner. And he said, it really made me feel unwelcome. And I had to leave my job a year later in Vegas because I just felt so out of place.
Yeah.
It's funny. He just wanted to stop and chat with everyone. And then he said that, Vegas, the culture, especially in the 80s when he was there, was that people just close their garage and not look at you. And he said it was so foreign to him that he had to come back to the South.
Let me get this oval.
But I can't imagine that you're like that, where you're hanging outside with like your neighbors and stuff. Do you have time for that?
I mean, I'm outside a lot. And I talk to my neighbors all the time. But I'm not like throwing block parties all the time.
Yeah. do they do you ever invite them down to your warehouse now?
Yeah, if they would have come, like my neighbor George, I had my crew over one night. I think it was for my birthday last year. It's my birthday last year, and we played Five Stack, that board game that I made. We played Five Stack and we drank mead that I had made.
but now with your health, your health in check, are you still drinking your alcohol?
I don't drink beer anymore, just because all the grain and refined stuff in. So I just drink whiskey. That's all I drink.
Okay, so just whiskey then. Do you notice that the whiskey affects you differently now that you've been eating so healthy?
Yeah. I can. I don't drink as much as I used to, so, but I only drink whiskey just because it's, I know exactly what's in it. It's just whiskey, and that's
right.
It. There's no like grain and corn and all this other stuff.
That's interesting.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I go through periods where I just like the thought of alcohol makes me sick. Like, you'll just have one of those nights where you get like a leg cramp or, something off. And you're just like, I'm kind of in that right now where I'm like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Even like, just a little bit, like you think it doesn't throw you off, but then, like you don't have alcohol for a while and you're like, wow, it really does throw me off.
Mm-hmm.
The next day I really am kind of slower.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's definitely not. It's more of like, I can definitely see the productivity, and that's, for me, it all goes back to that, like the productivity thing. Like,
Yes.
Am I able to function Is my mind sharp to where I can think, and you know, and it's all goes back to that routine. Like if I do something where it throws me out of that routine, that's when stuff starts happening. Like I get stressed or whatever, and so I just try to stay in that lane, literally in that lane of the not doing anything that throws me out of that.
Well, hold
routine.
on. What happens now if your wife is like, "Hey, I got these a week-long tickets to Disney World. We're gonna do this." What happens?
Well, she's never gonna get a week-long ticket to Disneyland. She knows better than that. I mean, I would take my iPad and I'd work there probably.
While you're at the park.
I don't know. We didn't work in Colorado. I had to work hard before I left.
What did you do in Colorado?
Where
were you there?
We were in Beaver Creek.
Where's that?
It's kind of by Aspen.
Ooh, so you can see some real swanky people around that part.
Oh yeah, real swanky people.
I've been to Boulder. I've been to Denver. Boulder was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, Boulder is nice.
I could never live there, but I really liked the look of it.
Yeah, we almost moved to Colorado before we moved to Tennessee, but it was too expensive.
Yeah, well, I have a close friends who moved from Orange County to I believe outside of Colorado Springs. She's a psychologist at the major Air Force base. Maybe someone out there knows which one, but they love it. They love the Air Force Academy. They love this. What's that?
It's the Air Force Academy.
Is that by Colorado Springs?
It's in Colorado Springs, yeah.
Okay, then that's where they are. Yeah, she loves it. They love going skiing. Their kid plays ice hockey now. He's a California kid. He's real into ice hockey. I always thought that I wanted to live in the snow. Like I would watch videos about Maine and I'd be like, I got to live in Maine. This is just amazing. And my wife would say, oh, hell no. You would hate it. You would just be disgusted at life. Yeah. And then living in Texas last year through the freeze. And then even the last couple days, it's been 22 with the wind chill. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm a baby. I'm going to admit it. I'm not a baby because I deal with it and I don't complain about it. But a part of me thinks man, she's right. I probably really wouldn't like to live in snow. I probably really wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know how you're confronted with the reality versus your fantasy and you're like, oh, how do I reconcile this?
Yeah. Your life gets a whole lot better when you accept the reality and just learn to be that person and not try to do something else.
Can you say that again? That's a great point. When you accept the reality.
Yeah. When you accept the reality of who you are, I mean, it sounds cliche, but for me, when I accepted all of my weaknesses and just and I kept thinking to myself, well, I gotta change, become a better person and fix my weaknesses and stuff like that.
I'm gonna become worse.
And I was just like, well, screw that. Let me just take my strengths that I know I do have. Let me focus on those and figure out how to structure my life to where I don't have to put myself into situations to have to handle my weaknesses.
That's great advice. I agree with it.
And it's kind of one of my biggest weaknesses, organization and, details. So for me, I just worked as hard as I could to put myself in a situation, i.e. hire somebody that doesn't have those weaknesses, so then I don't have to deal with it. And then I can just it just goes back to if people would just accept who they are and then try to be the best version of that person and quit trying to well, I got to be like this other person, and this other person doesn't have these weaknesses.
Well, and unless you're like Jeffrey Dahmer, then I think you probably need to change.
Yeah, exactly.
You're I don't need to just become the best, cannibal of all time. I need to just really get over this.
I just really need to get over this.
It's very true though. And it's true about weaknesses. It's so my friend's father is old school mafia. I mean, their families was very famous in Cleveland mafia. Uh-huh. And so I used to go over to Jack's house quite a bit and we used to watch film noir. He's 80 now. Jack's awesome. And we used to watch, he loved this movie, Witness for the Prosecution. And we used to watch it and talk about this stuff. And One time he would never talk about mafia stuff, by the way, like never, never, not once. Like you would never know, but like, you know, of course from his wife and like my friend, they would tell you the stories and you can read about it online, his family. And so we were sitting there one day and I was asking him about people changing. Do people change? And he looked at me and he said, leopard don't change its spots.
Yeah.
That's what he said to me. And I said, really, Jack? And he said, no, 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 no. The leopard don't change its spots. That's all you got to know.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of true. Like we do change, we do evolve. I mean, you're different than you were at 20, you know, or you have different priorities, et cetera, especially after being a father. But you kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like I'm never going to be this. And it's a harsh truth.
Yeah. And also like, even for like my girls, just the lie of like, oh, you can do anything that you set your mind and heart to. No, you can't. You really can't. Because there's some things you can't do. But what you can do is figure out who you are, and you could be the best at that. And you can figure out how to capitalize. And I'm not saying capitalize in the sense of capitalism making money, but that's part of it. You can figure out how to be the best version of that. And that could turn into you being successful.
That's very, very true. Very, very, very true. Like I look at my girls and they're all so different and they have like different strengths in this. And I look at like my second girl and I'm like, she will never work for someone in her life. She's such like a, you can see a go-getter. Like she'll do anything. Like, Dad, you need a sparkling water?
Yeah.
Mom, do you need me to make cookies? She's 7. You know, she'll make full pancakes for all the sisters, everything. And like, I just look at her and I'm like, she will never have a job in her life.
Yeah.
She will own something at 18. Like she wants to be a baker. She will own some crazy bakery at 18. Like, I don't know. We'll see if it comes true. We can do this live in, 11 years, but you get what I'm saying about your kids. You just look at them and you're like, yep, this one. And you don't tell them because you don't want to peg them. Right. That's the big thing. Like, Tim Burton, the film director, he said that he hated the stereotypes that you would get in elementary school. And he said, even for me, it was positive. They said, you're going to be an artist.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I mean, it's true. It turned out to be true. But he said, I wish I wasn't told that because it also kind of influenced how I thought about myself.
Yeah. I can totally see that.
So he would say, like, teachers would say, you'll never be a scientist. You're not very science-based. And he said, that kills children.
Well, I remember, I struggle with, you can see it in all the mistakes that I make with like grammar and spelling now. And I'm not a very good reader. I struggle with reading all when I was growing up because when I was in like elementary school, it was like when like, the whole kind of like phonics movement was kind of big.
Yes.
And they were testing different curriculums in the public schools at the time. And when I was in elementary school, they're like, well, you're dyslexic. You're severely dyslexic, which I was. And so they put me in this dyslexia phonics class every day. And we were learning, instead of learning, and the kicker was my dyslexia phonics class was at the same time all the other kids were doing actual spelling and grammar. And so I was going off and I was learning to read and write phonetically and not learning like actual spelling and actual grammar, that it screwed me. And I really struggle with reading now, and I've had to really overcome that. But the reason why I suck at spelling so much is because I spell everything phonetically,
So you break it all down.
Yeah, I break it all down and then, and that's, I don't know why I was get off on that tangent, but
it's funny that you love literature and then you do all these cards based on books. Like, because I know you.
Yeah.
I know you well, and I know you love the website that reads to you, et cetera. And you told me I'm basically illiterate. You joked about that. And I look and I'm like, oh, Peter Pan, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's one of those funny things.
Well, for me, it's like what I love the most is the storytelling. And so, like, that fantasy book. I know you're not into fantasy, but that fantasy book that I'm writing, I can creatively write faster than I can actually read. So like if I was taking like a book and reading, it would take me longer to read the same number of words than it would be for me to actually creatively make it up and write the same amount of words.
Do you dictate it, or do you actually write it with a pencil?
I type it.
Oh, okay.
I've got this little program.
You know,
I got this little program.
Rod Serling?
No, I don't. Who's that?
Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Rod Serling had like one of the early versions of the dictaphone, which was like a tape recorder kind of thing, and he would just speak into it, and he would just literally run through the whole episode of Twilight Zone with both sides of dialogue, both characters at the same time, and then a secretary would type it up.
That's cool.
It's crazy. I mean, that's what you should do. I don't know what you're doing typing.
Well, I like typing. The way that I write is
I'm slow typer, man.
I'll outline everything, and I'll create the story. And I think of a book as a movie, like a director, just because that's the way my brain works. And so I storyboard it in my head like if I was directing a movie, and then I just write the story as if I was writing a script for a movie, but I just do it in long form. So I'll outline it first, and then I'll look at that picture. That
awesome. Looks so good, dude. It's funny. It's like psychotherapy to watch it. Like I feel like relaxed watching you like fill in stuff. I mean, I'm sure that's why people watch your stuff. It's funny, dude. It's have you ever read Stephen King's book on writing?
No. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, you should read it. It's like the best. It's a short book. It's like 130 pages, but it's like him breaking down why things work, why it doesn't. And then he starts it by saying that he thinks most books about writing are full of BS and pretentious horse shit.
Yeah.
And that's why he doesn't want to. He said he didn't want to write it. And then, Amy Tan, the writer of the Joy Luck Club, who's a good friend of his, she's like, you should really write something. Like, you would help a lot of authors. And he said that's why he wrote it. But it's a great book.
Huh. I'll have to check. What's it
and
called?
He was just saying that he said, early in my life, I actually was talking to my wife about it. I said, this is the Jackson Robinson argument. He said, early in my life, I believed that anyone could become a great writer if they've worked hard at it. Now that I'm 70 and have been very successful, I know it's total BS, total nonsense. You're born with a certain sensibility, and then you can hone that, which is why I'm writing the book. If I didn't think you could improve, I wouldn't write it. But he said, you can't create a great writer. You're born with a certain situation and ability to craft a story. Yeah. You can improve or, decline, but you can't create a writer.
Yeah. I've been really, I always go back to that kind of my thing about talent and stuff like that. And I've really been like thinking about that a lot. And I'm kind of like, I'm not completely going back on what I say about that kind of stuff, because that lesson that I learned in college in the pottery class is very, very true. But
see, most people weren't inspired by it. You were. There's something about the way you're born. I don't want to say it's a God-given birthright or something, but there's something about it. Like Sandy Koufax. Like, you could have me. Like, I was a pitcher. I pitched in junior college. I was never a Sandy Koufax.
Yeah.
There's just something.
I think
I worked hard.
The thing that I see is, let me turn this music down a little bit. The problem I see a lot is you have what you would call talented people. Let me see. Let me draw a visual aid here.
So good.
Okay, let's do a visual aid here, because I'm a visual person. Okay, you got person A, person B, person C. Okay, here's your baseline. They're born. And this first block, let's say we're talking about, I don't know, drawing, your ability to draw. Okay, this bar right here represents what normal people would call talent, or what you're born with, like your innate abilities and your innate kind of sense of to be able to pick something up, to do it, that kind of thing.
Right.
So person A would be, let's say this is drawing. This person's an artist, okay? And this person A is born with the most innate talent to be able to do that. The largest reservoir to do that. B is middle, C is not. Okay, you get it. So this is talent. The second bar is kind of like your what I want to call it is kind of like your average. So this block here, this second block is the same for everybody. This gets added on top. So this is just like, oh, you're pretty good. So if at anything that you're doing, this is the amount of work and the amount of effort that you have to put forth to become average at something, at whatever field you're in. And in this field, it's being an artist. So, and that's the same for everybody. Okay, if you can just do these things and get by, you can get, a B, a 3.0 average or whatever. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
And so, but and it's the same for everybody, because kind of everybody, in whatever society you're in, there's kind of a baseline of like, you can just do this much and get by and be called a pretty good, like an average artist.
Yeah,
Okay?
like a restaurant, like a 3-star on Yelp. I mean, that's most places.
Yeah. So, and then the last part is what I call the overachiever. Is like the overachiever stuff. Okay? And this comes with the mixture, and this is the part that's not different. This is the part that has to do with your drive. This has to do with 100% of the things that you can control, like how much you practice, your drive, your focus. I'm going to choose not to go out 3 times a week with my friends. I'm going to choose to stay home and practice and do something.
Like a dedication level.
So this is different. This amount is different for everybody. And the sad truth is, we're not all alike, and we're not born the same, and not everybody can do, the dream that your parents lie to you about when you're a kid of like, you can do anything that you want.
They lied.
Like me, and sports is an easy example. Like, you're 5. Here's a great example. This is a great example. Let's talk about this. Like, you take someone like Shaquille O'Neal, okay, or anybody. Let's say Michael Jordan, okay. Michael Jordan, in the realm of basketball, he was born with a huge amount of innate ability, okay?
Yes.
And then you take someone like, let's say, Shaquille O'Neal. And now, I'm not going to get into a big argument who's a better basketball player, because I know Michael Jordan's better, but this is more of illustrative purpose. But you take someone like Shaquille O'Neal, who was born with, let's just say, the same amount of innate talent for being a basketball player, okay, as Michael Jordan, okay, and Shaq, whatever.
I would rather have dinner with Shaq, though, if we want to get into it.
Well, and the reason why you'd rather have dinner with Shaq is that top bar. So then you add the same thing on top. That's the same thing for everybody. So Michael Jordan and Shaq had to kind of do the same amount of stuff to make it by as a basketball.
Make the high school team or something.
Yeah. But then you've got this extra thing at the end. Let's say this is Michael's overachiever. And then this is like Shaq's overachiever.
Maybe a little smaller if you can.
Maybe a little bit smaller. You'd rather have dinner with Shaq because the type of person that Michael Jordan chose to be was the guy that was like, I don't care about having friends. I don't care about social life. I don't care about this, that, the other.
His upbringing, too. I mean, his dad was extremely abusive.
Yeah. And so, like, he chose this top part, the overachiever part. He chose that was... So he took the recipe of having a huge amount of this, took what everybody gets, and then he took it to this level. And
I agree with that.
And this is why he's on the top. And this is why Shaq was not as good. And the same thing is for like an artist is like, you could be, not everybody's born the same. And so you may have person C that is, a white kid, like take me, for instance, a white kid that never played basketball and is 4'11". I'm not 4'11", but you take a white kid that's 4'11", he's born with this in terms of basketball. You know what I'm talking about? But however, you get the people that are in this category, but this overachiever might be like this. And so that brings them up to this level compared to this person. So like you take someone like, say, like Spud Webb, who, super short. And so
he's amazing. So
his innate ability that he was born with might be really small. And then his average things stacked on top, but his overachiever drive and focus was stacked on top of that. Is Spud
But
Webb
it
as good as?
really is this magical combo, though. Like, you know,
Yeah,
Michael Jordan was just born with, he
yeah.
had so many
So it's
more
like,
parts.
is Spud Webb, is the Spud Webb character ever going to be as good as the Michael Jordan character?
No.
No, because the Michael Jordan character has like the perfect combination of all three recipes, and that's
Yeah,
the
it's
same.
like a talent. There's like a million words for it probably, but
Yeah.
something God-given talent.
And so, like for me, and this is just when my own self-reflection. When I think about myself and my art, um, I would consider myself like, okay, you have the three people, and sorry about this big tangent, but I've been thinking about this a lot lately. If this is like artist, I consider myself a B person in the middle. Like there's artists that I follow that are A artists in terms of like they were born with like a sick amount of innate ability. Okay. Like these would be like the Leonardo da Vinci's, those types of people. And like there is a small group of artists that are living right now that I follow that I would consider these A artists that were born with just a crazy amount. Now, I totally recognize that I was born and I had the innate abilities better than the A person when it comes to art and stuff like that. And then you stack on the average on top of that. And for me to be able to compete with this guy, I just have to make my drive and focus block on top higher than, because there's some A artists that don't have very much drive and focus. So they're really good, but they don't really achieve like this. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It does. I've worked with artists for 20 years, the creative director or friends or whatever. And I've always said the same quote. I said, all the talent in the world won't get you out of your bedroom.
Yeah, that's right.
And I want people to understand that, just like eating kale every day won't make you live forever. All the talent in the world won't get you out of your bedroom. And I said, right now, there's someone who's way better than Da Vinci, but will do nothing with it, doesn't care. My mom's like that, to tell you the truth. My mom was born with this innate artistic ability. You see her drawings as a kid, my grandma as well, and you're like, is that like a Da Vinci? Like, unbelievable. But then won't practice, doesn't have the drive. She always says, I have the dream, I don't have the drive. I grew up hearing that, and it kind of bothered me in a way, because like my wife would even say, your mom's like the most amazing drawer, like she could draw anything, like photorealistic horses, you can't even believe it, but she won't put any time into it. Doesn't care.
And so you have, it's kind of like goes back to think, and that's where before I was like, I don't believe in talent, I believe in
there's talent,
I just believe in practice. But you take like let's say Eddie Van Halen. Okay, he was absolutely born with an innate talent, or whatever you want to call it.
And there's a genetic component to it too. I mean, his dad was into music. There's something about genetics that we really have to admit. I think people don't want to admit as much about genetics.
Oh yeah,
as is a reality.
Yeah, and so like Eddie Van Halen, he was born with the innate talent or the genetics or whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, I promise you, Eddie Van Halen was sitting there practicing for 14 hours a day. Well,
he said that what he used to do was do some cocaine and then sit in a hotel room, and he would play guitar for 14 hours, like the day before, and then he would have to come down with alcohol to be able to come down, and he wouldn't party like with a crew after concerts, because he said he would go back to his hotel room and play.
There you go. And so if you think about all the time that you're, and I'm not saying all the time that you're partying, but if you think about all the time in your life that you're doing something else besides honing your craft of what you do, that's time not necessarily wasted. But if your main focus and goal is to be the best at that thing that your thing is, then it is wasted, because that's time.
Well, it's like Kobe Bryant, when they said that he used to go to like UC Irvine in the gym in the off season and practice, and they said that he would just say like 1,000 shots, so he had like 1,000 shot routine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, how many people are doing it? Not many. It's like what you said. You have to do things that no one else is doing to succeed.
You have to succeed. You have to be willing to do the things that other people aren't willing to do, the hard things.
And that goes like in a diabolical way as too. Like if you look at politics, etc. I mean, like these people, like they'll do anything. You know, like they will. they will bulldoze their grandma's house if it takes that to become,
Yeah.
who they are. So you have to do things that other people aren't, or else everyone would have done it.
And on top of that, like the sooner you realize, I mean, it takes, you got to know what you want and and I don't want to say dream, but you got to know what your focus has to be. And the sooner you recognize who you are and how to play that game around who you are to get what you want, in terms of like, okay, if I want to be a world-class artist, but I struggle with drawing this, like one of my biggest struggles for a long time was drawing people. And the only way that I kind of, and I still struggle with that. And now it's like drawing females, because when I was a kid, all I drew were like superheroes. And so I just didn't practice a lot. And so I struggle with drawing girls, because that's not what I drew all the time when I was a kid. It's just you have to recognize who you are, and then you just have to figure out, not about what can the outside environment do to make me better or to change my, like, you have to be able to figure out who you are and then to work with that. And then you just have to figure out the routine that works for you. I mean, at least that's what.
So when you did Federal 52s, did you ever in your life think that you would be doing a Dawn's Early Light today with me? I mean, probably not.
No. And that's a
You
good
never
example.
know.
I should probably save this right quick. That's a good example of, like, when I did the Federal 52, like, it would take me about a month. It would take me about a month and a half to design those decks. And if you were to say to me, can you design, 2 or 3 decks a month? I'd be like, heck no, I can't do that. It's just and then now looking back on it now, if that's about what I do, just the scale of what I'm able to produce has changed, because it goes back to those bar graphs of, like, that's how I get over that. It's kind
of like running, right? I mean, people like start running a block and then they do 10 miles.
Yeah. And then, but the way that I've been able to achieve that productivity and that output is by being laser focused about all aspects of my life when it comes down to diet, my routine, and
that's a good point.
And like everything that I do comes back to, how is this going to affect me drawing playing cards? Everything. Like it's like the razor's edge question that, and even Becca, my wife, she's conditioned now to do the same thing of, like, how does this affect drawing playing cards, and how would this decision kind of affect drawing playing cards? And we make all of our decisions kind of based on that, because we have found that I'm the happiest and most productive and most able to deal with stress, and I'm the best husband when I'm drawing playing cards, and I'm doing it in a very focused and serious kind of manner.
It's funny though. You told me a while back, you said, like, hey, I've never done just one thing for this long, as long as I've done playing cards.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
you were kind of hinting, you were saying, like, I love it that much, I'm going to keep doing it for one. So I'm not saying that you ever said you're going to leave, but you said, like, I also do like to, like, move on and do something different.
Yes. Yeah. I would have this cycle of having to change it up no matter what I'm doing, like every 2-3 years.
And that's been a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, it has been. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I've never done anything as long as I've done playing cards. But even with,
what's funny is you contacted me about this project, like, I don't know, 4.5 years ago. I remember it right now. I was in Costa Mesa, California, walking around my kids' homeschool, kind of like they were at like a church thing, like where they would, go to a class, and walking around the neighborhood talking to you for the first time. It was so long ago now.
And like, yeah, I don't even know what I was going to say. It's 37, right?
That's right. I remember saying to my wife, I was walking in a mall somewhere in Orange County, California, and I had like my Dropbox out on my phone and I said like, hey, this guy wants to see the original clip joint files. He said that he wants to redo, like, or do something with it. And I said, should I trust him to send him this?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what's he really gonna do with it? Anyway, like he seems like a legit guy or whatever. But I was like, I'm a guarded guy, so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I remember sending you the stuff like from my phone, like in a department store somewhere, thinking
Like
like,
a
man,
Foley's.
is this guy legit or what?
That's funny.
Now I know I should have just been like, hey, dude, just reprint this, please. Give me some hype.
Just take
Just
a, it'll
steal
just
it,
take a
please.
while. It'll just take a while.
Yeah, 4 years later, here we are. So funny, dude, how fast. Don't you notice the time goes so fast
Oh
now?
my gosh, dude.
It's Friday. Like, I swear to God, like I judge what day it is by like my wife will say, can you take the trash out? And I know it's Wednesday. I don't know what day it is.
Yeah.
I swear, dude, I don't. I'm like, I don't know what day it is. Like, and it seems so fast, like Friday. And I never understood why people liked weekends. Like, I always thought that's ridiculous. When you work for yourself, like you don't have a weekend.
No.
But now I'm starting to understand that like you get contacted less by people on weekends, and it's freaking nice. Like the warehouse or something isn't going to contact you on a weekend. Like, USPC is not going to contact you. And I finally get it. Like, you need those 2 days to just say, well, there's no way I get 2 days without having to answer something, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's interesting that you say that. The hardest times for me mentally.
And that's got to be a 13, right?
Yeah. The hardest times for me mentally are Saturdays, and then the absolute worst times for me are Sundays.
What the heck? Are you kidding?
Absolutely. Because like,
well, that's just weird.
The days that I either get stressed or depressed.
So you have workaholism, like
no,
hardcore.
No, I don't have workaholism. I don't think of it like that. What I think of it as is this is who I am. And if I'm not doing what I love to do, which is draw, and if I'm not actively scheduling my daily routines to set myself up to do that, it's not workaholic. It's just I'm not being who I am. And it throws me off. And so like Saturdays and Sundays, the reason why they're so hard for me is because it's the days that are the most variable in terms of like my routine. And the Saturdays and especially Sundays are the days that have the highest probability of me not drawing.
That's very interesting.
And
so is it an addiction to drawing?
Well, it's just an addiction of this may sound
productivity.
This may sound stupid, but it's an addiction of just like being who I am, and my mind can deal with stuff, and I can think about stuff much better and process stuff much better.
God, that 3 looks good, by the way.
If I'm sitting here by this computer or something and drawing and creating stuff.
Well, it's like a world, right? I mean, it's a form of escape. It's a productive escapism. Like when you're like I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and I'll open Illustrator and I'll just start working. And it's like all of my problems go away. I understand that. And it's like a little world and you can solve the problems. Like, shit, I don't know how to do that. The color's not working. How do I find that? You see what I'm saying? Like you can work through it, but then you get to the real world and there's so many variables out of your control.
Yes. And that's why I like
that's also a big part of it.
That's why I like the DEL time so much is because it's so freaking early that nobody else is up. And so the chances of somebody...
Well, I'm up.
Yeah, you're up. The chances of somebody else throwing in a variable into that routine is much lower. And so that's why...
Well, you know what? It's funny also, like, who was it? I think it was it Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson said, I hate waking up at 3 a.m. to go jogging, but I know that the guy I'm going to fight is not up at 3 a.m, and that makes me excited, and that's why I do it.
Absolutely.
He said, do I like it? No. Do I like the advantage? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that guy I've talked about before, that David Goggins guy, he's totally says
oh, you love this guy.
Oh man, David Goggins, he's awesome.
But I call him, and we call him affectionately, he's Jackson Robinson's Jackson Robinson, because I've said it a million times. You're one of the biggest inspirations to me, like with life of playing cards. It's funny that it took you, like, it's just such a weird kind of coincidence or serendipity or whatever, like seeing Federal 52 is the only time I've ever gone on Kickstarter, and seeing that, and then like years later working with you, and then you lighting the fire, and not in a competitive way. I mean, we're so different in so many worlds apart in what we do, etc. But just something like where it was just like a personal friend inspiration. And like, I've always felt that you're one of the people that I could actually call if I ever had something go wrong and talk to and say, look, Jackson, this isn't working out. What would you do? And, you know, if you picked up your phone,
if I picked up and replied.
No, you know what? You're always good at like getting a hold of, but for some reason, the last couple months you've been like just something. I wish you would just go back to your lazy Austin overweight days. You were so easy to get a hold of. You were calling me, for God's sake. Just start drinking a lot, and I'll take you to Wendy's, and you're going to break that no processed food habit. We're going to dip fries in a Frosty.
Yeah, I was about to say,
you're going to be calling me every minute.
Fries in a Frosty.
You're going to call me every minute. So funny. It's funny. Fulton's always waiting for someone. Fulton, you're always waiting for someone else. Yeah, I'm waiting for Jackson Robbins. You were just predicting the future.
We're doing this though. We're gonna finish this today, and we're gonna
absolutely. Yeah. You know, it's a pride thing for me. Like I just want to be like, you know, I hold you in such high regards as a friend, an artist, everything. I just want to be. I want the association. I want to be on the King's Wild site. I want Jason McKinstry to do an awesome write up. I like the whole gig you got. You know, I like the historical element of it. I really do. And Jason McKinstry, as I've said again, like his book Paper Empires, I bought it a couple years ago on PDF, and I gotta be honest, like I skim over some of the Cohen stuff or the Congress stuff. I'm just a Dougherty guy. I'm a fanboy, so like, but his knowledge of cards is unreal. Just unreal. What a great guy too.
These are Class A playing cards.
Jason McKinstry makes you feel guilty though. Like you get all this information and stuff, and you're like, man, this was free. Like, you know, like it's just amazing the wealth of knowledge some people have. Lee Asher too. Look how fast you draw that. See, for me, an illustrator, I would have had to pull any lips, clip it down, do a line, then a shape builder tool, and you just called me out. Look at that. I love also how like you draw it all by hand, because that's what it would have been then. And if there's any kind of little line imperfection or something, like imagine printed on a state paper or something. I'm a texture guy, dude. Like I got this vellum sample the other day for seals I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the vellum felt so generic. My wife's like, is that Avery paper you buy at Costco?
Yeah. I print my tax stamps on estate number 4.
Yes. Estate 4, estate 9, either one. Like I'm a texture guy. Like I was telling the stamp guy, I'm like, is this vellum? Like, did you really send me on the vellum it's going to be printed on? Or is this just like an Avery paper that you had laying around? Yeah. He's like, no, that's the vellum. I'm like, I need like texture. He's like, well, it's not going to be that much of a difference. I'm like, what? Have you not like touched a state paper before? Like you print this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a big difference. Are you kidding? You tell me. Am I wrong?
No, I love estate. I love that estate paper.
And vellum's rad, dude. Like some vellum, but it really depends on where you're getting it from. I mean, some vellum just, you know, looks like copy paper.
Yep.
If anyone out there doesn't have like that Texan slip box, I need to get some of those, Jackson. I need to get those slip. It's just so amazing. Like, and you do those crazy videos where like you're pulling it open, which I don't like because I don't have it. So I'm like looking at it like, well, I guess that's why you do it, right?
Yeah. I do it to torment Brad Fulton.
Oh my God, I love those slip cases. No one's doing that either. I mean, those are crazy. Was it hard for you to get the die of that and stuff and measure it out and figure it out?
I just drew a picture of what I wanted. And I said, make it fit this playing card. And they...
Really?
Yeah, and they created it for me.
Well, and it fits perfectly. Like, were you nervous pulling it out of the box? Like, this is not going to fit.
Well, we had to go back and forth a couple times. Like the first couple it was just too tight, and now we're trying to like hone in the magnets, because the first time we did it, they didn't have magnets and it would just fall out, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to.
It has magnets in it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy Jackson thinks of everything. It's nuts.
Because it had mags, because the first like the iteration we did, it would just fall out. So you'd pick it up off the table, and I didn't want to cellophane the leather. So we had to put magnets, but now it's too hard to open. So we're trying to figure out, like the ones we got now, they're really hard to open. So we're
I like the carrot case magnets, like the top magnet
Yeah.
system he has. How
Yeah.
it closes, it's very nice.
I mean, I like the carry cases, but I hate plastic. If
I
I
don't
if
like
I didn't
plastic either.
if I didn't have to cellophane my cards, like I would do wax paper. But people
Yeah,
are
me too.
so
Me too.
buggy about the cellophane.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I've got so many questions about this stuff. It's like, it's crazy.
Because like for me,
Have you
like
ever had to?
for me, it's like a
open, like,
thing of
100?
like, oh yeah. Like for me, it's
horrible.
it's an artistic thing. Like I work so hard to like create this, this beautiful tuck case and artwork on the tuck case, and the artwork only looks right if you're looking at it on the paper that I planned it to be printed on, which is
Yes,
like
yes, yes.
But then you put this, I want to print it on. I print basically everything like on uncoated paper, but then you slap this high gloss reflective plastic on top, and it just like it's a whole different experience.
Oh my God. This is like talking to myself, this conversation. And then also, like, I'm showing my wife, I'm like, look at this. So USPCC wrapped this one for me. The warehouse wrapped this one for me. And like the difference is like the warehouse has a good, like tight wrap, and then USPCC's like wrap is kind of loose,
Yeah.
like if you get something, kitted from them or whatever.
Yep.
And she's just like, why do you care? And I'm like, just going off about the differences, about the feeling of the plastic and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our wives must think they should start talking, and they can
Yeah.
probably just, but they'd probably boost alcohol sales or something. They'd be like, oh, I can't stand talking about these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Them touching their plastic over in the room. I always tell my wife, hey, at least I'm not hanging out at like a bar.
Yeah, exactly.
At least you know where I am. I may be nerding out on like vellum paper stock, but you can find me. The kids know where I am.
Yeah.
So funny.
I don't want to put USPC on there, do we? Do we want to put that on there?
No, we don't need to. I don't care. Well, actually, it's funny. They don't care. Like you'd show them, they'd be like, yeah. Yeah, whatever.
What can we put over here instead of the IR, the Internal Revenue?
Well, you can't put the first two initials of my last name because it just says FU. I would go pick up like a prescription at the store, and I'd be like looking at my wife. I'm like, man, they really know me, don't they? They put FU right on that bag.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We could just put US again. US.
Yeah, why not?
What if we
That's
did?
good.
What if we did?
Actually, seems like something.
What if we do like, TXTN, Tennessee, Texas, or something? I don't know. But you're a California guy.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't like about Texas is that I like to feel a part of a place, and I just always feel like an outsider. Like I don't like posers, or what was the word you used? Kickers.
Yeah, kickers.
I don't want to be like a kicker and be like, well, yeah, I've been here 3 years. I'm one of y'all now. It's not true. It's like being an expat. It's like being one of these British guys that moves to Thailand or something. They're never going to be Thai. They're always going to be the Englishman.
Let's try CA and TX.
Yeah, that's good. It's funny because people will see it after when we unveil the Chesterfield clip joint box, which I think is one of my favorite things of all time. It's funny, Ronnie Reagan was like the spokesperson for Chesterfields, I think, when he was an actor, who became the governor of California. He was one of the first governors in a long time, or maybe in history, to give California a surplus budget.
Yeah.
In the 70s. The Gipper. Ronnie Reagan, his presidential library. I've never seen it. I guess it's in Simi Valley. It's supposed to be an awesome presidential library.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. See, you're also you can't really claim Tennessee. I mean, it must feel weird for you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like, you're so Texas.
Yeah.
Do
But
you ever feel like maybe I should go back? Like I'm a Texan?
no, I definitely miss it. But like I said, like this is where my routine is best because I'm healthy and so we'll be here for a long time.
Yeah, honestly, some days I wake up or whatever, like, and I'm just like, man, what am I doing? Like, how am I? What I love Texas, I love it, etc. Like, because you miss where you grew up. Like,
Mhm.
it's changed a lot, or not for the better. But you know what I'm saying? Like, nostalgia is tough to beat.
Yeah. What is it? There's like a saying that's about nostalgia. It's like it's hard. I can't remember what it is. But like
It's it's meaningless. I mean, if you think about it, nostalgia is meaningless. Like missing a park that you played at when you were 5 years old is meaningless. It might be gone, but it's not. It means everything at the
Yeah.
same time.
You may not be able to go back there ever again, but it does mean a lot.
Yeah, Tony Todd, my friend, the Candyman.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We were having dinner at the Pacific Dining Car before they closed in downtown LA, and he was talking about how he missed Connecticut, where he had grown up in Stamford, Connecticut. And he told me, he said, "You can never, hey Fulton, never forget this. You can never go back home."
Mm.
And I said, "What do you mean by that?" And he said, "Every time I go to Connecticut, I'm already like looking at real estate, like I'm gonna move back. I need to get back where I'm from." But then I realized you can never go back home.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, I can never go back to. I mean, I can go back and visit Canyon where I grew up, but like, I can't. I can never go back there because even if I went back, it's not that same place.
But it's hard to learn that, right? I mean, you've lived in a lot of places. You lived in like Prosper, I believe. You lived in
Frisco, yeah,
Austin area.
Los Angeles, Austin, Dallas.
Yeah, it's funny that you lived in LA. I mean, you lived there for a while, actually.
Yeah, and hated it. Hated every bit of it.
Did you really?
Oh.
At the time, even?
Awful. It's awful.
You know what though, LA, like I have a lot of pride like for LA, and like, my family was there for many years ago, but it's not a great city. It's not a livable city at all. I mean, even the downtown, it's like there's nothing there. I mean, it's very sprawling. I like the vibe of LA, but as a livable city, no. I mean, Orange County is way better, San Diego County, etc., or even inland a little bit. LA, I mean, can I imagine for you coming from Texas must have just seemed so out of whack.
Yeah, it was no good for us. The only thing I liked, and the funny thing is this beach is even pretty sucky. The only thing I liked was Huntington and Manhattan Beach.
Huntington's a great beach. Manhattan Beach is where all the athletes kind of live. Like, like if you ever look at like any lake or like Pau Gasol or something or Phil Jackson, that's where they all live. It's a pretty cool beach.
Beef up these letters a little bit.
I was just in Florida. I really liked Orlando. I thought Orlando was an interesting city. I'd always heard just bad things about it, but I enjoyed it. The people were actually nice. I'd always heard that the people were very rude there because, it's a tourist-based economy. I met all nice people. You really have to go and experience places before you can talk about them.
Yeah.
I will say, though, everyone told me that Clearwater Beach was the greatest beach in America, next to Kaanapali, which is in Maui. You can't really compare. I mean, it's so unfair to like list Kaanapali and Maui as an American beach because, first of all, it's like an island in the middle of the ocean, okay?
Yeah.
Like with Florida, and Clearwater was very nice, but like I was a little bit unimpressed by the beach, honestly. Like I just thought, like, I don't know if they've been to a lot of California beaches, really.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Do you ever been there?
I have not the place. I've been to the California beaches, but not the place you're talking about in Florida.
Clearwater's awesome, dude. Like the sand, you can't beat it. I mean, it's like that sugar sand.
Yeah, it's like white.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that. And there was no tents on the beach, so that's maybe why it ranks higher. But like, even Huntington, like in the days when it was like, cleaned up, or if it is now, I don't know. But Huntington's an awesome beach.
Yeah.
It's what you think about like California, like, they call it Surf City, USA, although I think there was a lawsuit between two California cities that wanted to call themselves that. But it really has that awesome, what you thought of California, at least.
Yeah, because
you probably had fantasies of California as a kid in Canyon of what it was.
Yeah, we lived right there in Westchester. So, I mean, we literally lived on, I can't remember the road now, but we lived on the same road down towards, well, not down. We lived on the same road west towards the ocean that Randy's Donuts was on.
Oh, yeah.
In Westchester. And so we were like,
Inglewood.
And so we were like really close. We were right by the airport on the north side of the LAX. And we were like 3 minutes from the beach. And we could get in our car and like that was the two things that we loved about California was being able to get in the car, go to the beach. And my wife, because my wife doesn't work, and we had Claire at the time and just one kid, on a weekday we'd have our Disneyland passes, and so she'd get in the car.
Oh yes.
She'd get in the car, and on like a Tuesday go to Disneyland, and because we had passes, it wasn't a thing where like we had to do everything, we had to stay all day. So
You
she
just kind
stayed.
of go for the atmosphere.
Yeah, she stayed for 2 or 3 hours, rode a couple of rides, and they left, and they had a blast.
I used to call those casual visits.
Yeah, and that's what she got to do all the time.
It's addictive. I mean, I grew up doing that. I mean, I had a pass forever, and it's like I miss it. And from what I hear now from my friends, it's not the same. You can't really do that anymore. There's a reservation system. It's very difficult.
And we learned like all the like secret path, like, oh, you want to get to this part of the park? Here, go through this little hedge. You know, we like figured out how to all the little quirks of the park and made it easier to get around like all the tourists and stuff.
Now, what do you like more? Do you like Disney World or Disneyland?
I like Disney World better, but I've been to Disneyland a whole lot more, only just because we lived in Los Angeles.
I got to tell you, like, I love Disney World. I just saw it for the first time, but as someone who grew up going to Disneyland, I have to say that New Orleans Square is really the main place that I love at Disneyland, you know, like in the Frontierland.
Yep.
And I wasn't into that Liberty Village or whatever. Like it was supposed to be like an East Coast village. It didn't feel like anything to me.
Yeah, my favorite place of Disneyland is the New Orleans part.
Yes.
Because that's where the Pirates of the Caribbean ride was, and that was
exactly.
And this was before the the Johnny Depp reimagine. Because I remember probably one of the most influential moments artistically in my growing up was when we went to Disneyland and we rode the Pirates of the Caribbean, and I saw all of those N.C. Wyeth illustrations of pirates in the line on the walls.
So those are Wyeth illustrations?
Well, I doubt they're Wyeth illustrations. I'm sure it's just somebody that worked for Disneyland at the time.
Disney, like Imagineering?
But, yeah, but they were N.C. Wyeth-esque illustrations, like his stuff that he did for like Treasure Island. And I remember I would want to go ride Pirates of the Caribbean, and I would pray and hope that the line was long, so that I could just sit there and look at these cool paintings on the wall. And now they're all painted over now, but I remember that, and that was like a huge inspiration in my life when I was a kid.
That's the one thing I didn't like about Disney World was that like the ride lead up on Pirates is so epic in California, like, you know, with the arches and the brick, and in Florida, it felt like a business park. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like, and also the ride is 8 minutes in Florida versus 16 in California, and like the atmosphere is missing. Yeah,
and also like, and the it's where it's situated in the New Orleans part. It's like underneath that main building in the New Orleans area.
Yes.
And you kind of walk down the stairs, and then the number 33 club is kind of like around the corner.
Right.
Yeah, good times. Good times, great oldies.
It's so cool. I love Disney World. I thought Disney World was the employees were friendlier at Disney World. The crowd was awesome. The food was Disneyland's food. Disney food is bad. I don't know why they don't bring someone else in. You know, I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't eat that. You'd have to pack your lunch now. Right? I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah. That's what Becca and Claire would do when they would go to Disney. They would just pack their lunch.
So your daughter was born in California then?
No, Claire, our oldest, was born in Frisco, and then we moved to California on her first birthday. We literally got.
Oh, that's good though that she can still have the Texas.
Yeah, but Scarlett was born in Santa Monica.
Oh, really? Maybe one day she'll want to see it again.
I don't know about that, but yeah, maybe.
My good friend Mark Tucker, who was actually my TA, he was like my mentor at USC Film School. He is an old school Texas 6'4", real loud Houston guy. Yeah. Amazing guy. I'm still friends with Mark. And Mark's daughter was born in LA because he used to work for Disney. He worked for Disney marketing after he got out of USC Film School. We used to have lunch at the Disney campus. And his daughter was born in Burbank, California. And so like we'll go over to his house in Houston, and then, you know, his son likes Whataburger, and the daughter's like, no way, In-N-Out just kills it. Whataburger sucks. And he's like, well, yeah, she was born in Burbank, Brad. You know, she's one of y'all.
Well, you know, the funny thing is I don't like Whataburger.
It's gross.
I would choose In-N-Out every day of the week over Whataburger.
Well, I mean, like you think about, like I have to like educate Texans about In-N-Out. I'm like, look, it's family owned. They got their nice little Bible verses on their cups. Lindsay Snyder owns it. She's awesome. She pays a fair wage. People have worked for her for like 30, 40 years. Whataburger's a franchise owned by a Chicago investment firm that pays $7 an hour and is abusive to employees. I mean, really, come on.
Yeah.
They're always like, really? I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah. So before you like argue with me about Whataburger, like, please, just really think about it.
Yeah.
You cannot compare the two to me. I mean, Lindsay Snyder is such an underrated CEO. Like, I mean, she inherited that in and out. Most people would have just, you know, dropped out and just been a lazy ass and stuff, but she's made the company better.
Yeah.
She's like 39, got $3.5 billion and still upholds that quality. I mean, it's amazing. I always hate that excuse. Like someone was saying to me, well, Howard Hughes didn't really do much. He inherited all that money from his dad. And I'm like, really? A lot of people would have just sat around and got drunk 24 hours a day with like $1 billion. He actually like invented things and started a movie studio and just, yeah, he went nutty. But I mean, like, dude, he lived. He freaking did his own thing. Like he didn't just sit around with wealth. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen Howard Hughes' grave?
Where's it at?
Houston.
I didn't know it was in Houston.
Oh, he's a Texan. He's a
I didn't know he was a
multi-generation Texan.
I just remember him because where we lived in Westchester, all that Howard Hughes stuff was around there.
Yes, the Hughes, like it's like a they tried to put a movie theater in there and stuff or whatever, like Hughes, what's it called, Hughes Village or Hughes whatever. Yeah, he's from Houston.
I did not know that.
He's buried with his parents there. It's like a really beautiful cemetery. I'm into cemeteries. I like walking around cemeteries. I go like Elmwood in Memphis is my favorite in the U.S. But yeah, I love Howard Hughes in all of his insanity. You ever heard that story about how he was like staying in the Desert Inn up in the top, and the managers were like, "When's he ever going to leave?" And then they got a call down there. Mr. Hughes has bought the property.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so he was just holed up there like he was in his reclusive, like urinating in bottles stage.
Was that the hotel that he was in when he did that?
Yeah, he was in the Desert Inn, and he freaking bought it.
And that was
he was so tired of them asking when he was going to leave. He had took over the top floor with like his Mormon Mafia buddies that were helping him invest in stuff and maybe controlling his life. But he bought the Desert Inn.
And that's in Vegas?
Yeah, and then he just started buying all the casinos. You know, like the Mormons were the original Vegas. I mean, obviously not original. There's Native Americans, but the Mormons were the original like kind of settlers.
Huh, I didn't know that.
And so the Mormons aren't allowed to gamble with their religion, but they can invest. So it's called the Mormon Mafia. Obviously, it's not a mafia, but it's a group of investors that ended up founding Vegas.
Well, it's probably like the same people like own Dr. Pepper. They can't drink.
Wait. Dr. Pepper were Mormon?
No, I mean pretty sure the Mormon church.
Oh no, Coke. They own like a ton of Coke stock.
Oh, yeah, it's not Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I think it's Coke. But they can't.
Yeah.
From what I understand, I don't want to just make a blanket statement, but I don't. They can't drink soft drinks or like caffeine.
That's right. Well, the actual language in the book is it's strong drink, and so strong drink has been interpreted to be not just alcohol but caffeinated beverages as well for some reason. I talked to my Mormon missionaries. I have these really nice kids by there, and I've asked them about that, and they said it's just strong drink and that's it. So yeah, they can't drink caffeinated beverages. I mean, some do, but most of my Mormon friends haven't. Yeah, it's like that was the dilemma. The Mormon church in the 70s bought a bunch of Coca-Cola stock and made tons of money off of it. And it raised the question, can you invest? Yeah, it's okay to invest. You just can't drink it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting stuff. Did you ever watch the Howard Hughes movie?
Yeah.
Scorsese?
I thought it was pretty good.
It was good, but like Howard Hughes is such an imposing dude. Like if you watch him go against like the Senate, committee, and he's like a 6'4", just a towering, billionaire old Texan guy. And I don't think DiCaprio had that power.
Yeah, I got you.
That Hughes does. Hughes is scary, dude. Like you ever watch the Senate hearings and stuff, like where he just does not give an F.
I have to check those out. What was he doing the Senate hearings for?
I forget now. It was like, I honestly, I forget. I've watched the video a million times. I forget what it was over, but he's just like not having it. He's like, I will not talk about that in any way, shape, or form. Back then when people actually respected the government, it's even gnarlier. Hughes invented the underwire bra. I think he had the patent for that.
That's awesome.
He had RKO pictures, he produced like all those things. So he was obsessed with an actor. It's funny because Clip Joint was a lot inspired by my grandpa, but also Robert Mitchum, who's my friend Bentley Mitchum's grandpa, who was like the famous noir actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Robert Mitchum had an obsession, or Howard Hughes had an obsession with Robert Mitchum. So
Okay.
Howard Hughes would put Robert Mitchum in all of the movies, that he produced, and then he treated everyone kind of poorly, but he loved Robert Mitchum. And then they asked Robert Mitchum, "Why does Mr. Hughes put you in all his movies?" And he said, "It's obvious. The guy lives through me." That's what Robert Mitchum said. Howard Hughes had a massive Robert Mitchum obsession. He should just sit and ask him questions. What would you do here, Bob? How would you talk to a lady, Bob? Do you ever watch film noir, Jackson?
I don't watch anything sometimes.
You don't have time. I mean, yeah, I hardly watch anything either. But you, I mean, imagine.
I've seen film noir, but I mean, I couldn't tell you the last. I couldn't tell you the last movie I watched. I mean, I watched Dune. That was the last movie I watched, so it's kind of a lot.
Was that any good?
Yeah, it's great.
Really? Have you ever seen the David Lynch one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great as well.
Oh, so you like it? I'm not a big Dune. I can't really get into fantasy stuff, but like, that's interesting. You like it.
Yeah, I love Dune. Move this.
Where does Dune rank on like Mistborn and Lord of the Rings? And were you a Harry Potter guy too?
No, but I've read Harry Potter and I like it. I honestly think it's more for like the story structure and the storytelling. For me, it's Lord of the Rings top always, and then Dune is probably second for me. And that's also just because I don't read that much.
My 9-year-old daughter is on book 6 of Harry Potter.
That's crazy.
And it's like blowing my mind, dude. She reads like 4 or 5 hours a day. I mean, she is deeply obsessive, but it's cute because my other daughters like crowd around her at the end of the day and they call her Bubba. They're like, "Bubba, what happened? What happened to, these characters?" And she is translating to them. Like, what's happening in the story.
Yeah.
And then I hear them role playing upstairs and they'll be like, role playing the movie. It's all, that's what I love about kids. It's just the creativity. Looks so good. My daughter's reading Harry Potter. I'm like, "How many pages is that, Kareen?" She's like, "This one's 840
Oh my
pages."
gosh.
I'm like, "Really? Okay." I'm like, "I'm gonna quiz you." So I look through. She knows freaking everything, and I'm like, I have her like compiling a list of words she doesn't understand, so I can like get her on some vocabulary.
That's cool.
Do your daughters read, or any readers?
Yeah, Claire reads a lot. Let me save this.
So she's your oldest.
Yes. Are you ready to what color is this seal? It's like a blue. Let's make this like a blue color.
Am I ready to do what, Jackson?
Are you ready to show the tuck case? Because that's what we're ready to start off.
Well, yeah, we just don't have any choice now. I mean, we have no choice but to show people one of the greatest things ever made. We like people, Jackson. We're not misanthropes.
Yes. Let me just.
It looks so good, dude. It's crazy.
Let me just change this to blue over here.
And you're a CMYK guy, from what
Yes.
I've heard.
Well, yeah, because I have to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, with your stuff, you can't print like 6 colors.
Oh yeah. All right, and we'll figure out the edition numbers later. All right, so I got that. Let me close that.
I love the 13, and it's funny. I love the number 13. It's awesome.
All right, here we go.
Okay, everyone. Are you still with us? Did you have a heart attack?
No, we're here. I'm here.
Oh,
So
dude.
we
You
got
got to show the video of you painting the backdrop of Los Angeles.
This Los Angeles background.
Yes. Like, zoom in on that, dude. It's it's period correct too. Like,
Let me see if I can find it.
I mean, I'll put it up on Reels later. It's so good.
I can show you this. Our deck for next month's. Dude, you're gonna love this deck. This Empire deck. This was the original one that I have in my collection. It's a Dardery.
Oh my goodness.
W.H. Doherty, patent 1909.
That's a later Dougherty deck then, isn't it?
And here's the back.
Oh my goodness. Wait, is that yours or his?
That's the original. And then this is the ace. This is the Joker.
Oh my goodness.
Here's the ace.
Did McKinstry have these?
Yeah, I bought this deck from him. He did the write up for me. Here's the ace. I don't know if I've got one with me. And then
Can I get an honorary like subscription from you? Like, you know, I'll pay you under the table and stuff, like Venmo you, and then I need the 37. Can you kick whoever has that off?
Yeah, exactly.
And I get all this stuff, please?
Yeah. And then here's the guaranteed card. We did a guaranteed card, but it was like King's Wild, and it was like 2013. But in Jason's write-up, like this is the write-up that Jason did about Andrew Doherty.
He's so deep, dude.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome. So, like, we have all the different Empire backs, the Doherty, let's see, blah, 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 the different backs that it came with during the ad, like when it was released, ad card. And then I had this little, the wax seal, the wax paper sticker, this blue one. And we made one of these for the project. I'll show you.
Oh, I need one.
Oh, all the decks are gonna get it. It's gonna be on the back of the on top of the cellophane. Let me see here. Let me see Vintage Reimagine. Let me see Vintage Empire. Working files. Let's see. Here's my.
I hope you have a RAM on it.
Oh yeah, I got a RAM on it.
Okay, good.
I'll show you my files here.
I was gonna just disconnect this whole Zoom thing if there wasn't a RAM.
Yeah, I'll show you this is the.
You know what's funny is like when you were skimming through that, I thought it said vampire.
Yeah, there's my RAM. This is my back right here. Oh my
god, dude, that is like my new favorite deck. Is that Medusa?
No, it's just like more like just a Greek god. Here's our guarantee card.
Oh my god, this is like my favorite thing ever.
Here's our ace. I mean, that's our Joker.
No, were you okay? You know, do you ever watch have you ever seen the old Tom Sawyer Japanese anime from like 1980? Oh, it's the greatest adaptation of anything ever. But like, they don't draw nipples on anyone. So my daughters will be like, "How come Tom doesn't have nipples?" But you drew nipples on that one.
Yeah. Well, I had a butt crack on one of the guys, but because the original had a pretty gnarly butt crack. And here are the court
card.
It. Just a classic court cards. Here's the Ace of Spades with the little fish.
Oh my god, this is seriously, it's like my new favorite.
These tuck cases. Let me show you these tuck cases, dude. I think they're on my.
Is this getting a slip too?
Oh, dude, it's red with gold foil, and it has like these two torches, dude. I'll show you.
Just tell me you're never gonna print it, please. Tell me that you're not gonna pick up the phone when the printer calls. I don't want you to make this. It's too good.
It's already made, dude. We already have them. We've already put them together.
I'm done.
Let me show you. I'll show you the pits. This is on our Discord. Look at that.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
That's our tuck. That's the limited edition, and then this is the gilded edition that's going to go in the red slipcase, and the leather matches this red perfect.
Oh my god, dude, this is unreal.
Here's Daniel's printing plate.
I think look how good that is too. I mean, Daniel's the best.
Here's the box.
Oh my god, just we need a clip joint one like that, Jackson. I cannot go on living without a KWP slipcase of my own.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm serious. Like I swear to God, like last night, like I was watching Tom Sawyer with my daughters, and I said, "Can you get my pen for me, Kareen?" And she got my pen because it was next to her, and I started writing stuff. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I had wrote down like slipcase KWP, like I didn't want to forget.
Mm-hmm.
While I have you on the line, I'm like, I gotta write this down. Black, white, or silver, or something.
Yeah. There's the seals.
Estate 4.
Estate 4. And then we
did that
did
beautiful off-white.
This is the blue sticker we made. That was the other one. That's just gonna go on the back.
Just love it.
All right, let's go back.
Good thing you didn't ask me to critique it because I would have just been silent. It's just freaking good. I did think it said vampire. Can we do vampire playing cards?
No. Okay, I got distracted. I was doing that. I was trying to find that video. Let's see here. Let me see.
Oh, I forgot that you were trying to.
I was trying to find that video.
I was like, what were we doing again? I mean, but you and I are just gonna bounce around. I mean, that's not a big deal.
Fulton. Let's see. Fulton.
And then you said we can get that pull tab that I was obsessing about, that red and gold pull tab.
Yeah, we might can be able to do that.
Well, not now, maybe with the world where people don't want to do things.
Yeah, because our cellophane, we'll be cellophane this machine ourselves.
Oh God, Jackson, I'm just feeling depressed now.
Why are you feeling depressed? We're doing this. We're doing it, man.
Because we need the gold and red pull tab, Jackson.
Oh goodness. Let's see here.
So funny. For everyone for the backstory, like I obsess over little details. It's horrible. And I'm like, hey, the old cigarettes had like this gold, pull tab. Jackson's like, we can do that. And I'm like, there's no way we can do it. He's like, yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, we can do it.
And then, dude, if it's too hard, I don't care. I'm totally just pulling your leg. I just love it. I love the tuck. I've always loved. I'm a cigarette packaging guy, just like Jackson. I actually when I lived in Japan for a summer during college, I collected Japanese cigarettes. I just would have the boxes, like the old Wakaba.
Here it is.
Yeah, just look at this. I showed my wife when Jackson texted me, and she said, "What's that? Was that from YouTube?" I guess it is now.
I don't think this is on YouTube.
No, I'm just joking. I'm saying, well, now it is. I mean, it was something you pulled off YouTube. It didn't seem like something your friend could do. There's Anthony Kiedis there under the bridge downtown.
It's pretty loose.
No, it's freaking great. And it's funny, like when you look at things like that and you think that like there's some imperfections, but then you see them printed, it like goes away. Like if I look back at some of the original print files of clip joint, etc., I'm like, how did that not print stupid?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I zoom in like 12,000%. I'm like, my wife's like, what are you doing? That's not going to print.
Yeah, I definitely have to fight that a lot.
Are you like me and you're a zoomer inner?
Oh yeah. Well, because I work on everything so high res. I'm like, I basically had to redo my Lord of the Rings cards completely because the first version, I did my engraving style so small that by the time you printed it, it would just look like noise.
You know, that's true because I have a seal that I did and there's like this beautiful engraving, on it. And like when you print it, it just looks like
there's those little bridge things, that iconic LA bridge that has those little concrete fence walls.
Yeah, from Greece.
Yeah.
That's what Anthony Kiedis' song was about, the 6th Street Bridge.
Mm.
Remember the song Under the Bridge, the Red Hot Chili Pepper song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the bridge. Under the bridge downtown, I threw my life away. I mean, we didn't throw our life away. We just drove by it.
Yeah.
That's a City Hall. It's funny. There's a movie called Crime Wave from 1955 with Sterling Hayden, my favorite actor. And it was like the City Hall was new at the time and they were filming in there, like, when, in the police station.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal. I mean, that's like a really iconic, it's kind of been drowned out now with all the other crap that they've thrown up. But the City Hall, the building is amazing.
All right. So what do we want to put on the sides?
It's hard to think about. It looks so good, like minimally, and the front is so good.
Do we want to put the back design on the back, or do we want to leave the back?
No, we do not want the back design on it. That's like a thing that I love. I don't like back designs on boxes.
And do you know what city this is in the background of the actual Chesterfield? It looks like Morocco or something. I don't know.
I know it does not. It does not look like America. It looks like it looks like a Tomorrowland.
Yeah, I could see that. Or maybe like
it looks futuristic, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Chesterfield are from Virginia. I think they have to be from Virginia.
Gotcha.
But I don't think that looks like Virginia to me.
I think we should just do like a plain, just like one side Fulton Robinson Playing Card Company, and then like Fulton's clip joint on the other side.
It's funny. It's like, so the big argument when clip joint, the first one came out, was Dan and Dave said we have to show the card back on the box. And I said, no, I can't have that. Like, I don't want it, because if this is from the 40s or something, they wouldn't have slapped the card back on it, right? Like, no one would have even cared. And this is an establishment. No. And they're like, well, I don't know. Like, if we can do that, I don't think that like there's any cards printed that have that. I'm like, no. They can open it. It's a mystery. They can open it and find out what's inside.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I like the table players decks, because I want them to look like those cigarette packages. And
yeah, it's like a cigarette package, unless you're in Europe or Canada or some place that makes you put that those horrible photos of lungs on it or something. You don't, and like the photo of a cigarette on it too. You don't know what's inside of it. You don't know what a cigarette looks like from the box. The box brings you in, right?
Yep.
That's my thing anyway. I don't like showing it. Maybe it's bad if like it's, you know, at a 5 and dime on a thing. I don't know. The box still should stand on its own.
You just space these all out.
Also, like, you're going to open it and see the card back. I mean, when you see this tuck, you have to open it. So why do I need to show it again?
Yeah.
Seems redundant. Did Federal 52, the original one, have the card back on the box?
Yes. It did.
That's interesting. I love the little like crown thing.
Fulton and Robinson playing card. All right, let's
So cool. It's
let's put some flair on this company like I always do.
Some flair. How many pieces of flair do you have? You know what's funny is like we go to Trader Joe's in Austin on Great Hills, and the Chase Bank across the street is where Tchotchkes, like the facade of Tchotchkes from Office Space, was filmed. I like walk in front of it all the time. I think I actually put a reel up on Instagram for fun, just saying like, hey, I'm a big Office Space fan. I love Mike Judge. And I'm like, this is Tchotchkes. It's a Chase Bank, yes, but it's Tchotchkes.
All right.
Are you an Office Space fan?
Yeah, I love Office Space.
It's just one of those movies like that.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and need you to move your office downstairs. Okay.
My friend who works in the government in DC, he'll text me and he'll be like, I'm like, what are you doing today? He's like, more TPS reports. It's just become iconic.
I celebrate the man's entire catalog. Michael Bolton. Is your name really Michael Bolton? What did I say we're going to put on the side? Oh, yeah. Fulton.
Well, it's Fulton's. I think you always leave off the S. Like we gotta double check this deck after and make sure there's an S on it.
We gotta check everything, dude.
That's the beauty of.
Should we put something?
Jackson.
Should we put something on the front like the illustrious Fulton's clip joint?
No, it's a joint. Jackson.
It's just a joint.
It's a joint.
Yeah.
It's a joint. You know, that's like the famous steakhouse in Texas, Perini Ranch, which is one of the best places ever in Buffalo Gap, Texas. It's funny. He was on like this like high end like cooking show or whatever, and they're like, "You own a fine steakhouse in Texas," and he said, "It's a joint, ma'am. It's barely above a joint, really.
It's barely above a joint, really, man."
And she's like, "What do you mean by that?" And he said, "I'm not a chef. I'm a cook. I started as a chuck wagon cook, and it's a joint. It's pretty nice. I mean, it's nice and clean and stuff, but it's a joint." And I just love that.
That is awesome.
It's a joint. Have you've never been to Perini Ranch? I've asked you. I mean, you really need to go. Like my favorite book of all time is Texas Cowboy Cooking by Tom Perini. It's like the history of the chuck wagon with recipes in it.
That's awesome.
Oh, I'm going to send you one. It's freaking epic. And when I went to Perini Ranch last year, like I'm going to the bathroom and then I hear this like old guy saying like all these cuss words I won't say on your show. He's beeping. These beeping people come all the way here and they throw paper towels on the ground at a steakhouse. These people nowadays, and he's picking up like paper towels that are thrown on the ground. And I look and I said, "Oh my God, are you Tom Perini?" And he's like, "Why, yes, I am." Like shaking my hand in the bathroom. I'm like, I am so honored that I got to hear you swear at paper towels in the restroom. And he said, "Well, yes, people today, they come out to a place like this. They can afford to buy a steak, but they can't throw waste in the basket." I'm like, this is a legend.
Legend.
Tom Perini's a freaking great. It's my favorite restaurant ever. So I love. You know, my favorite part of the MP4 or whatever that you sent, I got to put it up on the reels today. It's like, I love how fast, like the, you know, cause it's time lapse, how the decisions made to do the clip joint font like that. It's so good.
What do we want to put? I like putting a saying. I always put 13 right here. So we're going to put 13 right here.
Can we do like a 13 and like a yeah, that's good. Can we do the O like how you had it on the side,
Yeah,
where like you gussied it up a little bit?
Yeah, it's called flare, Brad.
I call it gussy.
I like gussy too.
You're gonna gussy it up.
And it's always in the little. I position it to where you see it in the crescent thumb hole.
I'm not gonna argue with you, Jackson. You didn't throw any paper towels on the ground.
All we did was just gussy it up a little bit.
It'd be so funny, dude. Like you should do like a road trip back to Canyon.
I should.
And do like a behind the scenes. I mean, I would like to do it just as a guy who's into card history. It's like funny that we're all into this Dougherty. Like you and I are Dougherty nerds and Jason McKinstry. But then like this is, I always say to Jason, like, I hope one day someone does something about like the modern playing card industry. You know, like I'm sure there will be. Like we can't like fluff ourselves enough to say that now.
I want to
like,
buy the United States Playing Card Company.
Right?
That's what my goal is. I want to buy the United States Playing Card Company.
I would like it because, you know, I'd be in. I'd be in. I'd just be texting.
Yes.
Must be texting. I'll be like, Jackson, give me your assistant's number again.
It's your assistant's number again. We should all right, we should put a saying right here that we like.
Maybe like a Deion Sanders saying where it says like, you look good, you play good, they pay good.
My mind on my money, my money on my mind.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's perfect, man. It's an LA thing.
What if we put something like, it's just a joint.
It's just a joint. Yeah, it's just a joint. You could.
What if we put something like? What if we put something like, no paper towels on the floor?
Oh man, that's for the Perini Ranch deck. We got to get going.
Yeah.
Now. With his mail order beef tenderloin business.
All right. So what are we gonna put on the back? Let's think about that.
Well, this is a debate. Like, okay, for a cigarette thing, it might have been blank and then just had like, you know, like the little writing on the bottom, like, you know, like 20 Class A cigarettes or whatever.
Yeah. You know, I know we don't have one, but I know we don't have one in the deck. But for some reason, the thing that keeps coming to my head is the guarantee card.
Oh yeah.
Let me just.
You know what's funny? The original saying for clip joint, the original clip joint from 2010 or whatever was, "Take a seat, stash your heat."
Yeah, like
that
something.
Was the original saying. I mean, that's like there's a rules card in it.
But like something like this on the back. That's just more like an ad thing. Or never drink with your shooting hand. You ever heard that?
Or never drink when you're on a keto diet like Jackson.
Yeah, never drink with your shooting hand.
How about the quote is, "You must eat liver if you're on a carnivore diet."
Let's see, Fulton.
How about on the fold, the tuck thing? It says, "We love this city, but we left this city." Totally kidding.
While we're thinking about it, I'm gonna start putting all these colors together because I want this to be letterpress, but it's gonna be like 4 colors.
Do you like doing color separations?
No, but I got to do it.
Oh, it's such a pain, dude.
Because I know how nice Daniel's tuck cases are.
You know who I call the Reaper is Dan Buck. Like if you watch him go through a file and color sep it, you'll be like, "Are you kidding?" It's like watching something and fast forward. Like how fast, like he's a computer. Dan Buck is a freaking computer. He will like his decision-making process on color separations is ungodly. I should do an MP4 and send it to you. You'd be like, "What? Nuts."
We'll call this brown for right now until we pick up.
I've seen this stuff for like 15 years and I still, like, even this Sunday, I was like looking at him doing a color separation and I'm like, "Dude, how? He's like, "What? I'm not even that good at it." I'm like, "Okay, I want to see someone." He's like, "Daniel's really good too."
All right, we got that. It'd be nice for this gold. Well, there's a.
Is it a metallic gold or is it a mustard yellow? Is the question.
I would say mustard yellow. There is a yellow.
Yes.
It's like I want to say it's like Pantone 120. That's like this beautiful yellow color.
Oh, really?
That I think would be good for this.
I know that with metallic golds with Pantones, it's like you really have just like 871 or 872, I believe, is
Yeah.
really.
Yep. Yep.
Now you must print your metallics Pantone. I don't know how you would do it CMYK.
Right. But I don't print that many metallics. But if I print them, if I print metallics, it's going to be like, you know, the gold's 871, and then my silver is something else I can't remember.
866 or something like that.
And my red is usually like it's either 200 or 199 if I want a bright red, and then I've got this kind of crimson blood red that's like a Pantone like 7623 or something.
It's funny though. It's like with metallics, like you have to print Pantone. It's just you have no choice. Like you can do CMYK with a lot of other colors, it's fine. But when you're in the reds and oranges or metallics, to me, you have to do Pantone.
Especially if you want to like be sure of what you're going to get.
It's very true. I mean, according to Dan Phillips,
like this,
he said he's into like color gamma shit that will like blow your mind. And he's like, he was telling me that like the reds and the oranges are the hardest to CMYK versus Pantone.
Yeah. And that's like that Empire deck that I showed you. I think that's Pantone 200 to Pantone 199. Like the bicycle red is like 199.
Oh, really?
Or 200, one of the two.
Oh, honestly, the vampire deck is one of my favorites ever seen.
The vampire.
Well, it's like you were scrolling through the things quick, and my eyes just jumbled up the things. I think there was a V somewhere, and I'm like, vampire. Yeah. Wow, Jackson's on another level now.
All right, get all this yellow in here.
You're doing the color separation in Photoshop too, I see.
Yeah, there's no reason why I wouldn't do it in Photoshop.
You and I are polar opposites with like
sucks.
being comfortable. Like Illustrator, I can do anything. Photoshop, my wife will be like, "What do you mean you don't know how to do this? Like you've used this for 20 years. You can do it in Illustrator. Illustrator is way more difficult." I'm like, "No, it's so foreign to me." Besides photo editing, of course, but like illustrative thing. But I'm also not a Jackson Robinson illustrator. I'm not drawing in Photoshop.
Oh.
And you're the opposite. You think Illustrator is totally ridiculous.
Correct. Oh, that's a mask.
Some parts of our brain are different. And you love driving.
Like a car?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I like driving.
Because I remember I was talking to you on the phone when you were moving from Austin, and I said, "Oh, that's a bummer. You got to drive a truck." You're like, "No, man, this is like my dream. I freaking love driving big rigs. I love driving trucks." Right?
Yeah.
When your moving truck was insane.
Oh, I love driving big trucks. Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I just want to get it over with. Also, I grew up in the traffic capital of the universe.
Well, this is whoever made this file is not very organized.
I love the minimal aspect. It's funny too to imagine this in like a different color scheme, like an alternate tuck. Like, I mean, it would look totally different in a different color for many reasons. One being that, you know, the old Chesterfield, you've never seen it in a different color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two, I mean, this is not the Chesterfield, but it's like if you just imagined it in like a black and white.
Yeah. I'm going to put this yellow behind the brown so that it creates
like
this
offset.
It creates this cool like overlay color. Daniel loves doing that kind of stuff. He likes that kind of stuff.
He's a real print geek.
Yeah, he does. He does an awesome job.
He told me that he's like getting a little slow now. I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I used to be able to recall any paper stock for at least 3 years. Now I can't."
Yeah. And also,
that's how deep he is into printing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What's your favorite paper stock, Jackson?
Well, my favorite paper stock is the key color, Mohawk key color, but it's pretty hard to get right now.
Yes, it is. Do you like the classic Crest papers?
Yeah, I like classic Crest. Where I'm using the closest, we'll probably use that for this one. The closest thing to that key color is the color plan paper.
You ever use the eggshell classic crest?
Probably.
It's very nice. It captures color well.
You're nice. You capture color well.
Well, I do when I go out in the sun. It's very nice.
All right, all that's
I look very
separated.
healthy.
Here's the dial line. Let's put this on top so I can see stuff.
I love the idea of like the guarantee kind of thing.
Yep, I like it too.
I've never seen that on a tuck before.
And it would be good because of the dartery inspiration.
Yes, he's watching us right now, and he's saying two things. He's saying, "I love these guys. I would love to go fishing with them." Number two, they need some help. I need to share some direction with them.
Let me crop this out. One of my huge pet peeves is when people just print stuff off the thumb hole.
How many hours a night do you sleep, Jackson?
I try to sleep from 9. I try to get to bed at 9:30 and then wake up at 4. Pretty regular.
Almost exactly like me.
Pretty regular.
Same as me. When you wake up in the morning, how many like emails and texts do you have?
I don't know, dude. I don't even want to talk about emails.
Do you even look at them?
No.
Did you have to train yourself not to look at them?
Ugh, I hate emails. I think I've got like 197,000 unread emails in my inbox right now.
That's good. Here's the thing about emails and texts. They seem like life or death when they come in, but then if you don't do anything, nothing happens, right? It just shows you how meaningless like a lot of aspects of modern life are.
Yep. All right, let me see here. I'm just gonna take this and we'll just redo it. I just want to have the layout because I like the layout a lot.
Oh, same here.
And I just copied the original guarantee card. I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom right quick. I'm gonna pee my pants, Brad.
Well, that's okay. That's normal fodder up in Canyon, Texas.
You can listen to my cheesy music. I'll be right back.
Yeah, let's listen to some music, everyone. I can't even see who's watching or what. I don't have the YouTube link in front of me because the lag is just so frustrating to, be working on something or, sitting there watching Jackson doing something and then you're seeing something that happens 5 minutes later. It's a bit of a bummer, but anyone that's watching, I appreciate it. It's been a long time coming, this thing. It's exciting. To me, it's one of the awesomest tucks of all time. Jackson's got the painting of the LA city there when it was kind of new and fresh, reinventing itself in the 50s. Now there's a lot of construction in LA as well, but I don't think the architecture is that great. I don't think modern architecture is too impressive to me anyway. Just glass towers. I love that Empire deck though. I can't wait for that. I'll have to be texting Jackson and hope he responds and say, send me that, send me that, send me that. I'll have to look at the timestamp on when he actually sent me the MP4 of when he did the beginning of the tuck box, and we thought it was going to be done in like 3 weeks. Is when we thought, and here we are a year late, 2 years, a year later, 2 years. I was just talking about how much I love that painting, and I was saying, I wonder how old the file is.
Are you talking smack?
No, I'm pitching Empire playing cards, hoping that I can get some sent to me. Is what I'm doing.
Yes.
I said on here that I'm going to be one of the meaningless texts that come through. Where's my Empires? Anne Rice's Empire playing cards. Hey, whatever happened to the beef room, Jackson? I've really wondered that.
I've got it's around the corner from where I'm at right now.
Is it still coming?
Oh, the beef room. I mean, I got a
The
beef room in
beef
my
room. Remember
house.
we talked about this the last time I was on, or no, maybe two times ago. I think that you had talked about how you've forged a relationship with a local kind of,
Yeah, yeah,
cattleman.
yeah. I've been. We kind of have the beginnings of it at the office. I have an entire freezer at the office that has an entire cow in it, and we cook
So have
burgers and
his
steak.
prices skyrocketed like regular beef?
I don't know. I don't buy regular beef. I'm above peasants, but it's
I'm
like
not a
cheaper.
big
It's cheaper if you buy it
the pr- the
in the
price
bulk.
of beef is insane. Like I think it's like $23 a pound or something,
Yeah, I
for
mean,
at HEB when it was like 17 a year ago.
yeah, but like when I buy it in bulk, like when I buy a whole cow, it ends up being like $4 a pound.
What am I doing? Why do I have a car in the garage? Why not just a freezer?
I don't know, bro. What are you doing?
Well, I'm a Californian, Jackson. That's why.
Jeez.
That's the
Yeah,
answer to your question right there.
you're buying tri-tip and calling it brisket.
I don't like tri-tip at all. I've never had a great, like, I go to Central Valley or, by Buellton and that, like the home of tri-tip, Santa Maria. I've never had great tri-tip. I really don't understand it.
I honestly had never heard of tri-tip until I moved to California.
Oh, really?
No.
That's like, where the Madonna Hotel is, kind of by San Luis Obispo and south of that. It's like where the original kind of cowboy barbecuers were, and they
Yeah.
would do it over an open pit. And for some reason, they got into tri-tip. I've tried it multiple times, and I've tried it in the best places, in the legit place. Because, there's always the excuse, we've never had a great one, which might be true, but I've never found it.
Yeah.
It's always been tough as nails.
Yep. It reminds me like a roast when my grandmother would cook a roast.
Oh, and it's just overcooked. Yeah, it's tri-tip to me is just, I don't know. I never got it. I will say the best steakhouse in California absolutely was a Hitching Post. Remember there was that movie called Sideways that was about the wine
Mm-mm.
in that area?
I don't know this.
Oh, it's all about the Hitching Post, and they use that Santa Maria grill, which you crank to
Uh-huh.
raise higher and lower
Oh, yeah, I
over
know
the
what you're
fire.
talking
You've
about.
seen those?
Yeah.
Now those steaks are freaking amazing, and those grills are amazing. Franco Stini, the owner of the Hitching Post, is an amazing steak guy. I do like that central area, that Santa Maria, San Luis Obispo area. It's beautiful. Did you ever go to Pan's Diner when you lived in Westchester?
That sounds familiar.
It's
What?
like one of the only original standing, like Googie buildings from like 1940 something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's epic, like inside. I hope they preserve that forever. I think the owner, the woman, she just passed away. She was like 99. She was originally from Tennessee, and they have great fried chicken
Huh.
on the menu because of that. I don't know if I can take you there ever now with your new clean living plan. I love the guarantee, like the shape window.
Yeah, that little shield or
Yeah,
whatever.
we got to have that.
Oh, we're going to. It's next, bro.
Okay, good. I'm really liking this. I'm not even going to call customer support today at all. I'm not going to call your customer support today. I promise you, because I like this so much.
Awesome.
I call KWP customer support all the time. I have problems with certain cards. The guarantee, they've never replaced anything. It's just
Yeah.
for show, people.
I hope we don't get I hope there's not any mistakes in these decks because I don't want people to call and like send them back.
Well, let me preface this with saying that it looks good, but
Yeah.
it's not realistic, okay? I've called multiple times and spoke to the CEO, Kenneth Wayne, about things, and he just talks about Hulk Hogan nonstop. It gets annoying. It's basically Jackson's shield to get out of paying for replaced cards, is he just has Kenneth Wayne talk about the Hulk. Have you talked to Kenneth Wayne lately?
No. I don't talk to that man. He's a brutish man.
I love the guy. He stinks, but he's nice. That's what I love about King's Wild, though. I really do. I've said it multiple times to people. I talk to everyone in the card biz and stuff, and anytime that I've heard like you know, like, oh yeah, I'm not that into King's Wild, or what do you think of King's Wild? Or people say to me, can you explain King's Wild to me?
Hmm.
Like, what is the draw of King's Wild? And first of all, I say it's Jackson. People want to be a part of what he's doing. He's doing something totally unique. But second of all, what I always say is, I say it doesn't really matter if you like Jackson's cards or not. He's doing his own thing. That's more than I can say about most people in this world.
Hmm.
Is that you can't say Jackson's a copy of blank.
Yeah.
That's almost the most important part to me anyway. Like, I love original things or whatever. Like, I don't know. You can look at King's Wild. Like, my wife was talking about you the other day. We were having our Jackson discussion, and I said to my wife, I was talking to her about King's Wild, and she said it's very interesting because King's Wild has multiple styles of cards, but one artist.
Hmm.
Right? Like, she said that's the weird thing, is that it's basically a design studio that has multiple genres of cards, but it's just one guy.
That's the thing that I really. That's the thing that I try to run as far away from as I can, because there are some playing card designers. I'm not going to throw shade on anybody because they're great and I really like their work. And this is just more of me, you know, going back to what I said about recognizing who I am and what I want. But there are some, and it's good for them because I'm saying all this preface stuff because I want to make sure that it doesn't sound like I'm throwing shade on somebody or something like that. But like, there are playing card designers that do one style, and it's the same style over and over and over again, to where, you know, you can put, and in some cases that's what people want, the people that collect their stuff, and that's totally okay, and I totally recognize that.
Like logo back stuff. I mean, that's a whole industry.
Yeah, like you could put, you know, X designer, you could put any of his or her decks on the table, no matter which one it is, and instantly go, oh, that's a blah 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 deck. And to me this is a personal thing. To me, that is extremely boring, in the sense that, like, how does that push yourself? How does that push you as an artist to get better and to become better and to innovate?
Well, there's also something though, like there is like a style, like the mark of an auteur. Like, if you look at Dougherty's cards, he spanned the gamut. I mean, Tally Ho is nothing like Empire, whatever, but there's an overarching kind of vision that you can see, and that's important to me. Like,
Yeah.
I call it the work of an auteur, which I consider myself, I consider you, as someone that they have like a point of view, a point of reference in life, and then they can explore within those boundaries.
Yeah. And like that's one thing and that's why, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started doing the subscriptions, is because I wanted to run as fast as I could away from my decks and styles being the same. And I think, and just as an artist, that allows me to tell more stories, because I can't tell. It's harder to tell stories if you're only being able to tell stories in one way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and if we do in fine quality playing cards since 2011.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I see what you did.
Well, I mean, it's the 10th anniversary of Clip. I mean, it's funny. I had to look up, like, Joshua Collins, who's a good buddy of mine, who's a playing card collector. You know him, right? He's from Fort Worth.
Yeah.
He texted me last week, and he said, hey, what is the exact day Clip Joint came out? I want to kind of mark it down, like, because he's really into playing card history. You know, he likes King's Wild, he likes Fulton stuff. And I said to him, this is really embarrassing, Josh. I'm going to have to go back through my email archive. I don't know the exact day. And I looked back, and it was Black Friday. November 25th, 2011 is the exact day that Clip Joint came out. That's cool. I just learned that last week. I totally forgot. I mean, it seems like, you know how these projects, it takes like 10 years to get anything done. I mean, we've been working on it in 2010, you know, so I'm like, it came out in 2010 sometime. And then I'm like, nope, Black Friday, 2011.
That's awesome.
He's like, do you know the day Ace Fulton? I'm like, Josh, again, I'm going to have to disappoint you. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. Because, you know, people like you and I, we just like keep doing more stuff, you know. I should stop and look. Right? I mean, do you know the day that Federal 52s came out?
I know it was March, like February or March, around my birthday of 2013.
Oh, okay. But you get what I'm saying, right? It's like
Absolutely.
I don't want to be like, oh, I'm too cool to know the dates. I mean, geez, this is an important day in my
Absolutely.
career, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe that is the thing, is that I don't like pat myself on the wiener all day long and say, wow, remember that day back in 2011, Brad,
Yeah.
when you did one thing?
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing is like that whole, I mean, I think there is some truth to it, but like that whole adage you've heard before of like, you're only as good as your last game.
Yes.
Like, I hate that. I think that it's this dumbest thing. Well, it's dumb for people that aren't continually making something. Like,
right.
for me, it's like, you're only as good as your last game. Okay, my last game was, a couple weeks ago, you know? And I've got, in 2 weeks, I'll have another game, you know? And like, that adage goes to people that are like the perfectionists that are always, not releasing something and not creating because, I got to make this perfect kind of a thing.
Hey, I learned from you. I mean, I'm half and half. I've said on my like Instagram lives before, I said, like, when I'm like nitpicking something, I'm like, this would drive Jackson crazy right now. I'm glad he's not watching, because he would go nuts. But I've tried to learn. I mean, like, I take your advice. I mean, you're extremely inspirational to me as a friend. I mean, not just as a designer, but as a friend. But when I see, like, I got to admit, dude, I'm a nitpicker.
Yeah.
But I'm becoming less of one and just kind of moving forward, moving on.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, it just is, because, like, I have a joke that I say to people when I have a friend that's stressing over something. I just say, well, we'll all be dead soon anyway.
Yeah.
And it's not a negative thing. It's just my way of saying, like, well, in the long run, this isn't that important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about what was it? Like, even like last night at this kids volleyball game that I was at, like, and I think about like parents as coaches and stuff like that. Like, you get all stressed about something that, in literally a couple of days, you'll have completely forgotten about it and it'll have no bearing on your life.
Very true. Very true. Also, I see people ruin their reputations over things that are unimportant. I had a mother on our softball team, whatever. She cussed out the coach, who's a great woman, who was just trying hard. She's not a great, like, it's funny, dude. Like, when I was a kid, your parents would literally drop you off at baseball and be like, bye, goodbye. There was no like hitting clinics, unless you were a super rich kid or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like nowadays, even in Texas, at this girls' softball level, it's like they're not teaching proper swing mechanics,
Oh my
in
gosh.
Tball. And she cussed out this coach in the middle of a field at this thing. And I just thought, like, you forever changed my point of view on you.
Yeah.
Like, now I know who you are over something so silly as kids running around bases.
Yeah. And
I'll never be that guy.
and like I can't. And like that specific, in that specific instance, like that person like is choosing to be that person over something that, it's kids T-ball,
Yes.
And so like with me, like I just try to keep myself out of as many situations that don't matter as I can.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Because if I'm gonna have
Also,
to make a
like,
hard,
I'm really good at keeping relationships. Like, I mean, I have friends that I've known forever. Like, I have like a lot of that's important to me, is that I see that someone is capable of, like, working through things. I mean, you're going to have issues with people, your friends or your wife or whatever. I like the ability to work through a problem, not just blow up and then throw it all in the trash.
yeah,
It's just bad life moves to me. I've had friends that are just total hotheads and just, it's over. We can't do it anymore.
yeah,
It's like, I don't know. They're just moments in time. Or as Dan Phillips would say, they're just points in space.
huh.
That was his old website, I think, was like Points in Space. It was like his animation portfolio,
Yeah,
when he was
yeah.
working at Chili's trying to get a job as an
Yeah.
illustrator.
Yeah.
He worked at Chili's for like 12 years, like how long it took him to finish college. I'm like, what can you tell me about working at Chili's? He's like, well, I can tell you the corporate guys are quite full of it.
I spell
I said,
guarantees.
well, we
I
know
spell
that, but
guarantee.
give me an example. He's like, Well, when they took the open flames out of the kitchen and they gave us this like a robo machine that you would just drop the food on and it would heat it up through a conveyor oven, the corporate guys told us that finally the food was going to taste good and fresh now that they had got rid of,
Huh.
open flames. And he's like, I looked at them and I said, really? It's going to be fresher through a conveyor oven than raw meat on an open flame? And the corporate guy looked at me and he said, yes, it is. And that's what you tell the customers.
Wow. Is that how you spell guarantee? I don't know.
Guarantee. That's right. He looks weird though, right? Like when it's reversed out like that.
Words look weird to me, man.
It looks weird.
Words look weird to me all the time.
Massimo Vignelli, one of my favorite graphic designers, he once said that the black text doesn't matter. It's not what anyone reads. It's the space between letters that makes it.
I can see that.
He's the guy who implemented Helvetica across the New York subway system.
That's awesome.
Because it was like 80 different fonts,
Yeah.
throughout the years and stuff. And he said, no, this is Helvetica. And so he told New York to buy Helvetica, but back then it was just all like type plates. And then they said it was too expensive. So they used what they had was standard or accidens grotesque, which is a variant of like the Helvetica.
Yeah.
But type nerds will look at signs and be like, that's a standard. They never change that. Are you a type nerd?
I'm a type nerd of the typefaces that I like to use.
Vignelli said there were only 8 great typefaces and everything else should be thrown in the trash. It's all like Helvetica, Futura. It's all kind of the sans serif fonts from, the old days. And he said, look at them. They're timeless.
Times New Roman.
I think he liked Times New. Did you ever watch the documentary Helvetica?
No.
On the history of the typeface and how it became like commonplace? It's very interesting.
I feel like I would love that documentary.
Oh no, dude, it's old now. I don't know, maybe because Massimo's in it, Vignelli, and he's talking about it. But it's a great. It shows like just how Starbucks has it and everyone has it, and like people say now it's generic, but like it's more than that. It's very interesting. You'd like it. You'll never have time to watch it, but you'd like it. You'll never see it, Jackson, but you will love it. I love this. That's a great idea, dude, on the back. I just freaking love it. We shall be unhappy to replace it with a new deck is what we should do, though.
Yes.
We shall be very unhappy. Do you ever get complaints that people want like a new deck?
What do you mean a new deck? Like come out with something new?
No, like someone says that like the deck was defective or something.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. All the time.
How often? I mean, really? Like,
Once a
what's
week.
the complaint, though? Once a week.
Yeah.
What is the complaint, though?
Just different stuff. Like I had a guy, a person just berate Mariana, which is one of my customer service girls. Just berated her because the Maduro deck, he was claiming that it was marked, which in a way it kind of is, but only because I'll show you.
Well, why would you berate somebody over a playing card?
Well, exactly.
I don't understand that.
Let me see here.
Isn't the first rule of Roadhouse, Jackson, to be nice until you can't be nice anymore? Didn't Patrick Swayze, the great Texan, tell us this?
Either that or Sam Elliott. So, like, on the Maduro, on the cards. So
I love, dude. How did you get that tuck? Now, I've always looked at that. Did you print a texture?
I just printed the CMYK texture of tobacco leaf, and that's all it is. That's all this tuck case is. And then
I've been on your site like a million. I've looked at that and I wondered, like, that's not a paper. That's
it is a paper. We just CMYK printed it.
No, that's what I mean. Like CMYK, like it's like the original clip joint is a paper, but then it's CMYK'd like gritty texture on it.
Yeah, and then we actually made a cigar band that we had to friggin' hand put on all these things. But if you see it, like each suit has this cigar band that goes off the edge of the card.
Yeah.
And so theoretically, it's marked in the sense that if you're like pushing the edge of the deck angled enough, you could you could if you learned it, you could tell what suit it is, but that's it. You can only tell the suit, because this part that goes off the edge is the only thing that's the same on every card. So
sounds like someone is looking really deeply into things and is unhappy in other aspects of their life.
So you see this right here, this part right where my little hand is. You can see right there where that's the back design, and you can kind of see the ink if you push it to the side. And they laid into, and they were just like, you know, telling us, you know, how could you not, you know, print this, that this was a marked deck and all this kind of stuff. And then we wrote back and we said, well, I mean, and they were like, you know, I didn't realize it was marked until I opened the deck and stuff like that. You know, I want to return, and how can you guys do business? I'm going to tell everybody I know that I'm not going to do business with you ever again. And then we just wrote back and said, you know, sorry, sir, that you feel that way. We'll totally give you a refund. But, you know, all these photos were on the product page. And so it was like, it's not different than what you looked at. And then he took that as us blaming him, that it was his fault. And what
was the resolution, though? Did he want to send it in, or?
He wanted to send it in and get a refund. And so that's what we gave him. But it was just like, oh man.
It's ridiculous. You know, I got to tell you, like, I loved how you were doing the auction again. Like, I was brushing my teeth and I turned it on, and I'm like, I was like getting the kids' toothbrushes ready, but like I stalled up there to freaking. I love your auction. I'm telling you the truth. I freaking like. It's addictive watching it. I'm glad you're doing it again. But one of my favorite things is someone says, I didn't see their comment, but you're like, can I just block someone like right on here? Hold on a second. I got to like block this. And you're like, done, blocked.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I'm like, oh my God, I can't turn this off now. It's funny. It's become controversial to block people. I don't understand the world. Like, someone's rude, then you block them, and then you get like, I don't support someone who's silencing voices or blocking someone. It's like, dude, if I've been in this business since it began, like if I block you, you freaking deserve it. You asked for it.
Well, the reason why I blocked that guy is literally 2 minutes before I said, hey, I want to try to make this good, have this experience good for everybody that's doing this. And the way that this works and is good, the way that these auctions work good is if you're bidding and you're typing an amount, you only do it if you're serious, and only put in serious bids. And I said, and if you put in if you're a troll and some jackknob and want to be a douche about it that just types in something, I'm going to block you. And so I'm sure that person's a fine, you know, a nice human, whatever.
I doubt it.
But I like literally told him 2 minutes ago, like, if you do this, I'm going to block you. Dude, this looks great. Let's do the bottom.
Dude, it's one of my favorite things ever. I'm like glad you came up with that idea on the back.
Let's do this.
Lorem Ipsum is going to be the name of it.
Yeah. Signed
that comes up all day to me, and I'm like, Lorem Ipsum, okay.
By Jackson Robinson.
It's a mark of pride
and
to have that on there.
And Brad Fulton. Let's see, this can be longer than I usually do.
It's funny you should and bra.
And bra. My bra.
An underwire bra, Fulton.
My bra. What is it? EY? Is it Brad? No, just Brad. We'll just do Brad.
It's Brad.
Brad.
My grandpa used to call me Bradley, even though my name is Brad.
We should be like real pompous about it, and we use our entire names, like Jackson Barrett Robinson and
Michael
Brad
J. Fox.
Bradley Samuel Fulton. Let's do that.
How about Bradford? We can even just like gussy it up a little bit.
Jackson Barrett Robinson and Brad. Is it Brad? Is it L-E-Y?
Dude, you got an epic name though. I mean, that's epic.
Is it L-E-Y Bradley?
Well, I don't put Bradley because that's not my name, but we'll do Brad Samuel Fulton is good.
How about Brad Douche? No.
Yeah.
Brad Samuel. Is Samuel spelled right?
That's what I'm called at home. That's right.
Okay.
I love the name Jackson Barrett. I mean, you have an epic name, dude. Like, really.
3 last names.
Barrett. Who's a Barrett? Is Barrett the
William Barrett Travis?
David Crockett people?
Yeah, William Barrett Travis.
Are you related to them too?
No, I'm just related to David Crockett.
Do you know how you're related to Crockett again?
On my mother's side, keep going back. Crockett's daughter was like great grandmother.
Do you know the Day Tripper? Do you know who that is?
Yes.
The Day Tripper is like Texas royalty. He has a show for anyone that doesn't live here called The Day Tripper, and he goes around Texas. His name's Chet Garner.
Yeah.
His show is freaking amazing. It's won like multiple Emmys and stuff. And I talked to Chet, and like Chet, I was telling him about you, and I said, Chet, you know how like you're Mr. Texas? Well, I got this guy. Unfortunately, he's in Tennessee now. He's no longer a Texan. But let me tell you about him. He's like, what? He's born on the day of the Alamo? Didn't you tell me you're born on the day of the Alamo battle?
Yeah, February 23rd.
Yeah, it's so crazy, dude. Like, and then the state, all they give you is allergies and property taxes, Jackson. That's the only thanks you got.
You know what else I found out yesterday? Something else that happened on my birthday. You know that iconic statue and picture of the Marines raising the flag of Iwo Jima?
Yes, of course.
That was February 23rd.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I still think the most epic sculpture in America, you can argue with me on this if you want. Go to San Antonio in front of the Alamo, and he's an Italian sculptor who did like the Sam Houston one in over in East Texas. But you know what I'm talking about? The sculpture with like the people burning, like coming out of the flames.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, it's epic. It's like it's emotionally gutting, and it's just stone.
All right, let's see here.
King's Wild. Didn't you tell me that your family calls you King's Wild?
Yeah, and my wife calls me Jackie
Robinson.
Oh, here we go.
Number 42.
Let's do this.
Jackson Barrett Robinson. That sounds like we should start a law firm, really. I don't know what we're doing on this card nonsense.
What are we doing? Let's Fulton, and Robinson.
Yeah.
Are there two Fultons? No, we just decided to just say it twice because it's
we don't have law degrees, but we will win in court. Like, Colonel Sanders took
the Utes. The Utes.
The two Utes.
The two Utes. It's a panhead.
Fred Gwynn is just amazing. Right? Yeah, he said the Utes. What is a Ute?
Is that guy talking? The guy that was the judge?
Yeah, he's old.
Wasn't he like Lurch or something in Adam's Family?
No, he was Herman Munster.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he was in Pet Sematary. He's one of his best roles ever. You know that he was a painter, right? Have you ever seen his illustrations?
No.
He wrote some of the best kids' books ever. So he wrote A Chocolate Mousse for Dinner. It's all about, what is it? Is it homonyms or, words that have the different meaning or whatever? Yeah. So it's like a chocolate mousse for dinner. It's a picture of like a moose that's made of chocolate, like, and this little girl looking wide-eyed up at him. Huh. Oh, his children's books, The King Who Reigned, and it's like a king in the clouds that's reigning. Oh, dude, Fred Gwynn is an amazing artist. Like, look him up.
That's cool.
I love Fred Gwynn. Maybe you never saw it, but Stephen King's Pet Sematary.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
He's old. What's his name? Judd Crandall.
That's a great name, Judd Crandall.
Yeah, he's just a great dude. Stephen King said that he wrote that character after him, and he wanted Fred Gwynn to play it. Cleveland, Tennessee. It's got a great zip code. Look at that. It's representing. It's 13 backwards. It's the day of Halloween, too. Look at that. It's so good, Jackson. It's unreal. I just want to be on the damn King's Wild website. That's like seriously a goal of mine. I love it. And we get Jason McKinstry to write some history. Everyone go out and buy Paper Empires, please.
Oh, it's so good.
So, dude, I have like the PDF like open in like my preview app, like I just will look through it, like at the Dougherty thing, like he's tracing the history of what happened to the Dougherty factory, in New York.
Yeah. Well, he sends me stuff.
Did you ever read his?
He sends me stuff all the time. Like he just sent me something. We were talking about the Empire deck, and I sent him pictures of it. What did he send me? He said that was printed right here. Let me see. Well, he sent me this yesterday for my birthday.
It's always nice to share that photo of Andrew.
He goes, what did he say? Yeah, yes, those are the aces. Oh, we were talking about, dude. He showed me a deck. A Dory deck, this past week. I'll have to show it to you. I can't believe I haven't told you about this. But it's a, let me see what the year is. And I'm totally making this deck. I think it was 1865. It is made right at the end of the Civil War. And it was an Army-Navy transformation deck. Okay? Let me pull this thing up.
Jason's so nuts. You know that Dan Buck, I set it up. He invited Jason to come do a talk on the history of playing cards at Cardistry Con this year, and Jason unfortunately can't make it.
Wow.
Which bummed me out.
Look at these. Look at these court cards.
Oh my God, dude.
And these are the aces, these 4 cards right here.
Where's the back?
Dude, just wait till you see the back. But look how this is a transformation instead of the pips. They use like, this is the Merrimack or something, or the Virginia.
Oh my God.
And you can see it right there. Andrew Doherty manufactured Beekman Street. And then there's the, to commemorate the greatest event in naval history, the substitution of the iron for wood. So it was talking about
what?
And here's the back.
The substitution of iron for wood? I mean, that's so cool.
Because they made those, you know, the Monitor and the Merrimack and the Virginia.
Yes.
Then he sent me this picture right here. He's like, it was printed right here on Beekman Street.
You know that Doherty had an office on Fulton Street.
That's awesome.
Jason has discovered.
But here's the back, dude. Well, here's the tuck case.
How many decks does Jason have?
I don't know.
That's beautiful.
So
only you can do it, though.
So there's the tuck case. And then, dude, this back is ridiculous. And it's going to be awesome.
What is it? What is it supposed to be? It looks crazy.
They're like
a shield.
Acanthus leaves.
Wow. Look at the coloring though. Like on it is very unique. I've never seen anything like that today.
Well, it's green and red, complementary colors.
Right.
He sent me that the picture of the
Wait,
battle.
what's that from?
This painting?
Yeah.
That's just like a painting, the 2 Monitor and Merrimack and the Virginia.
It's a beautiful painting though.
Yeah. But I'm going to redo it. I'm going to use these court cards, but I'm going to do just
hey, look,
like...
Mark Twain's the king. Look at that.
Yeah. I'm going to use...
Randy Johnson, the pitcher.
Randy Johnson.
Look, he's got the left hand up too, and he's intimidating someone.
So I'm totally going to do that as a vintage...
When are you going to release that?
I don't know. It'll probably be a vintage reimagined deck for next year. Or maybe I might do
So you're only doing how many vintage reimagines this year?
6.
Oh, it's my favorite. It's my favorite line. Just love it.
All right, let's see here.
Isn't the Thessalonians thing just be quiet, don't look at me, don't talk to me, don't complain about Mark Dex? Wasn't that what it was?
Exactly. It's Mark Dex, you know. Yeah. It's exactly.
Don't berate my staff, you're blocked. JR.
JR
1337.
Wrote by the Apostle Paul.
Yeah, wrote by the Apostle Plato.
Socrates, all we are is dust in the wind.
It's so true, though, dude. Bill and Ted's holds a secret to life. Do you know that I was in the mall when they filmed that day?
No.
You don't know about this?
No.
So I was a kid, and we were living in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. And my mom took me to this mall called Metro Center, and they had a Nintendo store in there called Captron.
Captron, yeah.
And we were going in there, and then they had this blocked off the food court because they had the ice skating rink down below at the small Metro Center, which is now being demolished. It's done. It's crazy. And I saw a guy dressed in a robe, which was Socrates, and then the Billy the Kid, like the cowboy guy, standing in front of Hot Dog on a Stick. And they had the whole thing like blocked off, and we were staring down there like, whoa, what's happening? And someone's like, oh, they're shooting some movie. And then when it came out, I'm like, oh my God, I saw them film that. The movie came out like years later too. I think it was on the shelf for like 2 years. Kind of like this deck, Jackson. It was on the shelf for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I love that movie though.
Man, that was such a big a big movie to me when I was a kid.
Did you part 3?
I haven't seen part 3 yet.
It's actually amazing. It's got an amazing message. It's just amazing. I love it. I'm a huge Bill and Ted's apologist. It's one of my favorite films of all time.
You know, it's in the second one, but I remember when I was a kid and I watched the second movie. You know that part where it's like in the future? And that was something I liked about the movie too, was I was fascinated with like different people's depictions of what the future was going to be like.
Yes.
And there's that part in the second movie where they're like, it's in the future, and there's like that faceted diamond thing that comes out of the ceiling, and it becomes the phone booth. And
where like Rufus is.
Yeah, and they play Big Pig. I got a breakaway. Away. Like that whole scene was like, I don't know what about that and that song. I love that song and I love that scene.
Well, I had the soundtrack on cassette. I still have it in my garage.
I can break away.
I love that, dude. I love that movie. The original title of that movie was Bill and Ted Go to Hell, and then the studio said they can't have that. I love like the station, how that's like a universal word, and it means everything, dude.
Station.
He's like, that's station, and then death.
Oh yeah,
you're
he's their buddy
or a little street sweeper. Sooner or later, you dance with the reaper.
Yeah, it's such a great movie.
I know, and they were in Builder's Emporium, which was like a small time kind of. Well, it wasn't small, but it's kind of like an Ace Hardware in California at the time. I love Bill and Ted's. I love the first one. I love the message of it. You know, the writer of Bill and Ted's is what's the guy's name who wrote I Am Legend? Matheson.
Is that same guy?
Matheson. So that's his son wrote Bill and Ted's.
Huh.
Wrote I Am Legend. He wrote like all these like Twilight Zones too. Like Matheson's son is the guy who wrote Bill and Ted's.
That's cool.
That's awesome. I mean, it's like people look at it and think like, oh, it's a stupid B movie. It's really deep. It's a really deep film. It really is. I hate to break your heart, and it's not just a stupid B movie. It's a great film. The Maidens. Iron Maiden, dude.
The Maidens.
Yeah, I love that. I love how he goes to the Old West, and he's got 4 aces. You cheating us, Billy? And how he leaves Napoleon I used to go to kids' birthday parties at that water park. It's called Sunsplash. It's way on the outskirts it was in the middle of nowhere when I was a kid, but like now it's probably like some giant suburb outside of Mesa, Arizona, or Tempe or somewhere.
Did they shoot all that in Arizona or something?
They did. They shot everything of it. The high school was in Scottsdale, Arizona. See, California's been having issues with that was the beginning of kind of California saying like, we're not gonna make it easy for you to film here.
Yeah. And
then other states like Arizona, like I guess the new season of Stranger Things is supposed to be California in the 80s. And where's it filmed? Georgia and Albuquerque, New Mexico. Breaking Bad was supposed to be in Riverside, California. They didn't make it easy for them. Where was it filmed? Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was filmed completely in Arizona. Now, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, ironically, was filmed in LA.
Huh.
But the first one is just every Arizona spot known to man. That 7-Eleven, or the Circle K is still there, actually.
Huh. Something's afoot at the Circle K.
It is afoot. Everyone, he's like, ma'am, when did the Mongols rule China?
When did the Mongols rule China?
I don't know. I just work here. Who knew that Keanu was going to be just such an icon, after that movie? Right? Like when you saw that movie, it's like you didn't know if you were ever going to see him again.
Oh, and the other guy.
Alex Winter.
Yeah.
He's great too. He's a smart guy. I just love it. I love that little ribbon too.
Yeah, I put that on all of. That's kind of like the number 13. I try to put this specific ribbon thing on all the USA decks, and it looks really cool in color too.
That's so cool. I was just looking at flags like the other day, and like I still think that the two greatest flags in the world, not the American flag design wise, I think it's the Canadian and the Japanese flag for some reason just get me.
Like good or bad?
Yeah, I love them. Dude. I just love the minimalism of 'em. My wife and I had an argument. She said the Japanese flag was better than the Canadian flag, and I just thought, like, I don't know. I like the Canadian flag. It's pretty epic. Like the maple leaf, it's just good design.
I got a feeling that's gonna be too small.
The U.S. flag's cool and all, but like, I don't love the way it looks design wise. I mean, I really like the Canadian and Japanese flag better. I'm not speaking about the nations. I'm just saying as a design. Like if I saw the graphic design, I'd be like, yeah, it's cool.
One of the best graphic design flags ever is the Texas flag. I'm just telling you.
Which one though? The come and take it?
No, just the one that's there now.
Oh, the red, white, and blue with the star.
Yeah,
I do like it, but the come and take it flag to me is just one of the coolest messages. It's just like that homegrown drawing of it. You know, I like that. Did you ever do a come and take it like on a deck or anything?
No.
I'm gonna do the cannon.
I'm gonna do the Appeal to Heaven flag next in my vintage Revolutionary War flag series. I did the Valley.
It's crazy that you say you can't read, but then you know more history than most people. It's very interesting, right, Jackson? So then, what are all these people that are better readers than you doing?
I don't know. reading their Facebook posts, I guess.
Yeah, reading gossip columns and finding out that the Queen has COVID or something. I don't know.
I gotta push this stuff out. I gotta push it all the way to the edge here. Make all this stuff.
It's funny though how quick you adapted Tennessee. Like your box has changed like overnight.
Yeah.
So it's like it's an auteur thing. It's like you're really showing you at that moment.
All right, let's put this thing right.
We'll be unhappy to replace it with a new deck. We will mail you manure.
We'll mail you manure.
We'll mail you some Marty McFly manure. Were you a Back to the Future nerd like me?
Oh man, I loved it. That's another thing.
I've never shown it to my.
And my favorite one for a long time was the one where they went to the future because I was so interested in like how people thought the future was. Like when he's doing that hoverboard over the fountain and all that kind of stuff. I was so interested.
Let me just tell you something really hard and fast and true. If you ever want accurate futurism, it comes from the most pessimistic minds of all time. Like if you watch Twilight Zone, it's all that humanity is so sick that everything's going to be bad and automated and disgusting in the future. Brave New World, 1984, and they turn out to be the most accurate.
Oh yeah, it's like Soylent Green. They're reading people.
Yeah, it's like I said to my wife, I'm like, Rod Serling was a great futurist because he didn't seem to like humanity too much. It's like all these great utopic views of the future never worked. Blade Runner became a classic because it really is Los Angeles today. Yeah. You know, it's very interesting.
Dude, this looks great.
I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm an optimist for myself and that, but as humans, as a species in the world, I'm probably a pessimist. So anyone into futurism probably is. We don't have hoverboards today.
Yeah. So what? So I'm gonna send this to. I'm not gonna send it to Tuck Box because we'll handle the Tuck Box with Daniel. But when I send this to. So do we want this? You want this classic stock, or do you want this classic crush stock, or what do you want?
Let's think about it. Okay, so we have the black and white one, right?
Yeah.
What
the back design is black and white.
Yes, we should do like a freaking green and white one time, or like that vintage Dougherty where like the card itself was mint green and then the art was dark green. You ever seen those?
Yeah. Well, I think we need to do something that matches. Like we either pick this brown or this red or this yellow. The yellow won't come out that well.
Yeah.
Or this red.
Yeah.
Just to match the box, to match the whole thing.
Or I like black. That dark brown. Really, I mean, it's kind of unique. I don't know. Red might just be a more classic though.
Let me tell you this. I mean, I'm kind of partial to red because that's my favorite color. But I tell you what, you open this white tuck case and you pull out that red back design, and on top of that we can make the Gilded edition. Like the standard edition, this one right here can be, you know, the beautiful white paper that I always use, and then we can make the let me see if I got a picture of it. We can make the Gilded edition like a darker craft, kind of a beige color.
Yeah.
Let me see if I've got.
I want to see this tuck too in a black and white. Like I really, I mean, that's like the classic clip joint. It just would look so different. I think it would be awesome at some point.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. We'd have to play around with this background stuff with the city side.
It'd have to be like an off-white.
Yeah, but we could do it. We'd have to kind of change the design a little bit, though.
I don't know if we'd have to change design. I think it might look so weird and different. I don't know.
So, like, let's see. So, like, this, none of these are white, but this is like, it's almost like a cream color.
Yeah, I love it.
We could do the, even like this darker brown. It looks really cool.
I love that. I mean, it's awesome. It's like every picture that you've ever seen in your life of Chesterfields too is like that aged because it's old.
Yeah.
That's beautiful foiling.
There's the beer can that I did it after.
Oh, it's so cool. I've never heard of Rheingold.
Let's see. That's next month's Gold Flake.
I love old packaging. I go to like the Austin Antique Mall and like there's just a junk booth with old packaging, like pill bottles and stuff, and I'll just be in there for an hour.
So I think that in my head, I think we do whatever Pantone we choose for this red.
Yeah.
And then
it's epic. I mean, it's a total.
Do you just want to do the classic paper stock from USB-C, or do you want to do the
I like
crushed?
the crushed. I think the crushed handles better probably.
Okay, we'll do crushed. Classic crushed. How do you want it cut? You want it traditionally cut?
I'll let you decide on that.
Okay, that's right.
Well, what do you like? What cut do you like, Jackson?
All my table player style decks. I basically get everything traditionally cut.
Can we get a flake? Can we get like a flake tobacco? Like a navy cut. Do you want navy cut or flake?
It's toasted.
Virginia
It's
flake?
Toasted. It's toasted.
It's toasted.
Yeah.
It's epic.
So I'll send this. I'll get this. I'll put the email together. I'll just make sure that all the files are prepped and ready to go. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. Can we just skim through like the layers on the deck so I can just look at the? I'm just looking for the. Oh my god, it's just so beautiful.
So.
And then.
Let me just do this right quick. I'll make a spot color for this. Let me see here. Let's do.
That's the spotty color, Jackson. We can't pick that. Oh, spot color. I see.
Let's go. We'll do 200.
How many Pantone books do you have? You have like pastel and neons, metallic, and then bridge.
I just have coated, uncoated, and I have metallics.
You don't have the pastel neons one?
No, I don't want metallics. Go. No. I want process. Where are you at? I want solid coated.
Oh, it looks crazy, dude. It's amazing how color affects everything.
Let me see here. Okay. Shh, don't talk to me. Stop doing that. Okay. So we got Joker. We got this add card 1.
Yep, spelled correctly.
Add card 2.
We're just looking for spelling. I mean, the art's awesome.
Yeah, we're definitely looking for spelling.
Jackson, I just want to confess here. I was a second grade spelling bee champion. Okay, so I need to look at spelling.
All right, K. We got 1 K.
Actually, I wasn't.
Ks.
I lost. I got second place, but I don't want to talk about that.
Spade, K. We got Q, spade.
Yep.
J, spade. 10, spade, 10 pips. 9, spade, 9 pips.
Yeah, I think all those are going to be fine. I don't see a problem with those. Let's look at the ace of spades.
We need to look at them. Trust me.
Okay.
It's not my first rodeo.
It's not my first
7,
rodeo.
but I can just do a little bit faster. I just need to look at
You
them.
ain't Bill
6,
Pickett.
5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, there's ace.
Okay,
Fulton's clip joint.
Yeah,
King's
looks
open.
good. That spade is so weird. But when I saw it, I was like in a Whole Foods staring at it. I'm just like, it's so good.
K, Q, J, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ace.
See, I wonder in that though now, like with the quartz being orange and black, if we should just Pantone it to that red and then do the orange and black for the black one.
I think that would be better.
Yeah, it's just orange and red is just too much.
Do you want to? I'm just gonna say this. Do you want to do classic colors, like red, blue, and yellow?
I don't know, dude. I don't like blue. It's a confession I have to make. I just have never liked cool colors. I don't know what it is.
Do you like purple? Do you like Halloween?
Yeah, purple's epic.
I'm not a big purple fan. It's my least.
Are you a purple fan?
No, it's my least favorite color.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you like blue though?
Yeah, red, blue, and green for me.
Well, it's classic though. Maybe if it's just
the red yellow. You know what we could do is this Pantone yellow, this 120, whatever we end up picking for this.
That makes sense.
We could do this. We could do this yellow and this red. That's the same red as the back.
Yeah,
that would look good.
Yeah, it's epic. Let's do that.
All right.
Just like when I saw the orange, like I love the orange thinking the back was black for the first one, but then, you know what I'm saying? Like when you look at the orange and the red,
here's the thing.
Oh,
like, I'm just gonna say this. Like, if we ended up doing this back as black, it would be awesome as well. Like if I was gonna choose of which ones we'd had to do, I'd either do the black back just because of the tuck case, the black back, or the red back. I wouldn't do this maroon color because that's just a personal choice.
Might get a little weird.
Yeah,
I like black and red. I like black and red. I think that's a classic. I would love to see just a black tuck too. I mean, like we've said, I just freaking love it.
Yep.
But you know, I like the idea of coming out with the red for the first time. This isn't supposed to. This is obviously not a remake or has anything to do with the first one. It's like an alternate universe. We're talking about the future. Now we're in the past of 2010. I contact you. It's pretty cool to come out with it as red, really.
Yeah. All right, and then the Jokers.
It looks good too.
Let's look at the Jokers here. Those are fun Jokers.
They're awesome. I just love it. It's super bizarre. I mean, the whole thing is just, it's a super weird project, and that's what I freaking like. All right. And you know, when you first told me to do these, like we were going to do these live, I was like, you know me, I was very apprehensive. Like that's weird, dude. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. You're like, we can't do that.
I'm like, I can't do that live. And then now, like, I was so bummed out when it took so long to get me back on here. Like, I don't know, anyone, you can chime in if you would hate me doing this or not, but I want to come on. I mean, I can't say every Friday, it's Jackson's show, but I would volunteer to come on and just do play-by-play of Jackson for like an hour and just like talk about his cards or his brand or just BS, or we could talk about talent versus hard work. Or the beef room.
The
talk
beef
about
room.
all sorts of stuff.
All right. So what time is it? 8:15. I gotta go. I'm out of my routine already.
Oh God, he's out of his routine, guys. He's gonna eat like Chick-fil-A fries today now.
My wife has been sitting in her chair for 14 minutes waiting for her coffee.
That's rough, and I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm very sorry about that.
Dude, I'm glad we get this. It's almost finished.
This is epic. Send me the share folder for all this so I can just drool and hope that this is submitted today.
All right, I'll do that right now while I'm thinking about it.
Yep, start the email. Just start the email and the share and get your wife coffee.
Let's see. What is this? That's the tuck case. That's a tuck case video.
I'm going to put that on Instagram today.
Huh?
I'm going to put that on Instagram today.
I remember this.
Oh, we got to do that stamp, like that faded blue too.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay. Let me just go back.
I want to just print a shirt just for us with just that crazy stamp.
That's awesome.
Would you wear it even to sleep in, Jackson?
Yes, I would wear it to sleep.
I'm going to make some.
All right.
Send me the whole folder. I'm going to make some.
Copy Dropbox link. Where's my email here? Okay.
It's so beautiful. Well, everyone got to see it. I was really trying to hold out and hide this, but it's just too good.
Okay.
If we didn't do this today, we wouldn't have the guarantee that we're never going to honor.
That's right. That's right.
We are total liars.
I'm gonna honor my guarantee.
I'm not at all. Well, that's why it has the Fulton Robinson. I'm gonna like, if someone sends me the deck that's defective, I'm gonna cross my name off the guarantee back and then write a note that says Robinson Playing Card Company.
Refer to Robinson Playing Card Company.
I'm totally kidding, everyone. Everyone nowadays doesn't understand sarcasm, but
all right, dude, it's been fun.
You're the greatest ever, Jackson.
I just emailed you that link.
Okay, good. And so let's submit it. Let's do it.
All right. See you, Brohim.
Later, man.
Later.
Tell your wife hello.
All right. Peace.